You are listening to a True North Eager Beaver Media Podcast. The True North Eager Beaver podcasts are proudly brought to you by our founding sponsors, the Miss V Mysteries from Corvid Moon Publishing, your source for science fiction, fantasy, and cozy mysteries featuring a broad diversity of characters. CanadianTarot.com, your uniquely Canadian online eclectic tarot community and forum, and the Peppermaster, hot pepper sauces made from fresh farm ingredients to thrill your taste buds and expand your mind.
Well, good morning and hello, kids, and welcome to Season 3 and episode number 163 of The Daily Beaver here on the Crier Media Network. Today, recording day is Friday, July 14th, 2023, and again, as you can see by my face, it's beautiful sunshine here at the Beaver Lodge. I'm your host, the Eager Beaver, pronouns he, him. Hey, Mr. Beaver, eh? And with me, as always, is my dear friend, Mr. Grizzly. Of course, a big thank you goes to our podcast's founding sponsors, the Peppermaster, the Miss V Mysteries from Corvid Moon Publishing, and CanadianTarot.com. And today I did look. And yes, kids, I did shave. My Beaver sweetie says that he likes it. And, well, we've been together going on 11 years, and he very rarely gets to see me like this, so he wants to see more of my face. So, since I love you, Beaver sweetie, I accommodate.
Play along.
We have a Friday morning Beaver Bake for you, but before we do anything else, let's take care of the most important thing on our agenda. Good morning, Mr. Grizzly. How's your mental health today?
Well, good morning, Mr. Beaver. As you know, I've been a little bit all over the map as of late because of circumstances beyond my control have hampered my ability to take a vacation in the manner that I chose, or the manner that I had attempted to choose. So I've been a little off. Today, I don't know. I'm not there yet. I will get there, but I'm going to apply some breath of God right here. It looks like it looks like a mascara almost, right? Is that what do you call that? No, not mascara. Eyeshadow. It looks like eyeshadow, but it's not. It's actually solid cologne. So I just put a little bit here, a little bit there, and a little bit there. Maybe I'll put some even right here. So why not?
Why
right?
not?
So yes, at least I smell good. Yesterday while we were on the show, and I was letting everybody know the current sort of situation my brain is in. My lovely partner Bridget, my girlfriend,
The lady of your heart.
Thank you. I was looking for another thing and I was losing it. Texted me and said, you know what? I'm taking us up to the Wakefield Inn for the weekend. So She booked us at the Wakefield Inn, so that's yeah, we're going away for the weekend. So because she felt kind of bad for me, and I wasn't searching for sympathy. I was just letting people know where my brain was at the time. But it's like, you know what, this is the pick me up I think I need right now, because it's I'm disappointed that I can't take the trip that I planned.
Yeah.
That's life sometimes, though, right? So anyway, yeah, I think I'm doing a little bit better today. Got lots on my mind this morning, though. Like lots on my mind.
You got lots on your mind.
Yeah, I want to address a number of different topics. First, let's start with how the Minister of Labour, Seamus O'Regan, ended the strike in the Vancouver ports yesterday. Yeah,
right. As I said,
they sat down.
He's a non-bullshitter. If he said that, it's probably true, and he probably worked very hard. And what happened?
They got it done. But here's what Skippy had to say about it.
Of course, because nothing's ever good enough.
Today, we got a deal to end the strike at the Port of Vancouver, but thanks to Trudeau or his incompetent minister, but no thanks to Trudeau or his incompetent minister. Having failed for almost 2 weeks, they stalled $800 million worth of goods per day and cost the economy at least $500 million. And my response to that was, no kitten. You were not part of the team that negotiated a deal. You were rage farming and taking photos with homophobic bigots while cosplaying at the Stampede. He still hasn't blocked me for some strange and bizarre reason.
You pulled a beaver.
Yeah, I did.
You called him kitten.
Yeah, I did. I thought about you while I wrote that. I know. It's warming the cockles of your heart, isn't it?
They grow up so fast. Proud beaver papa.
Well, and that little shit Gibbon would have ordered them back to work, basically saying, screw your union, get back to work, you serfs.
Well, not only that, it's like the whole business community is turning around. It was like, okay, now that that's off, you need to pass some preemptive stuff right now to make sure they never do that again. What? Fight for their rights, and we let a normal negotiating process come on, and then when people are starting to get unreasonable, we step in and say, okay, now you got 24 hours because you're not that far apart, and then people do a nice orderly process where everybody's rights are respected. And yes, you were inconvenienced for a little bit, but
our feudal overlords do not want the serfs to rise up ever again. Well, guess what, kitten? So that's where we begin the day.
And now,
with a friendly voice.
And now it's a theme, because this is the first time. This is not the first time that the federal government has, and in recent memory, not caved right off the get-go. Remember, we had the public service union strike, which again the Conservatives were calling, no, send them back to work. And then they gave it a little bit of time, and whoops, what do you know? A deal. That one didn't even require, I think, the calling in of a federal mediator.
No, they worked it out.
Yeah. It's amazing how you just give people a little time.
Well, it's the posing with unions. Oh, we're here to support workers. Make those little shit gibbons get back to work. No. It's called negotiation for a reason, Skippy. You're not a feudal lord. We're not serfs. We are not going to take this shit lying down. I'm a little fired up this morning. Can you tell?
I could tell.
Can you tell I'm a little fired up?
All fired up. I believe there comes a time when everything. This is a little Pat Benatar.
Little Pat Benatar.
A little Pat Benatar makes every day better.
I think so. That's my favorite Pat Benatar song.
Fired up, really?
Dubs. Yeah, it is. It's just because the way she just wails on that one, it's so soul enriching.
Yeah.
And it's always that song. The first time I heard it, I went, yeah, like she meant that shit when she sang.
Me, it was
all fired up.
It was Love is a Battlefield, because when that video came out, okay, first of all, a rock singer dancing. I don't know. Second, she was good.
Yeah,
she was really good. I don't know why she didn't dance more. She was really good in that video. And then, of course, the the concept of teenager leaving home and trying to make their way kind of related. So the song resonated with me like this. And then later on when she did We Belong, oh my God, that one just came for the heart, right? I mean, she that woman can sing anything. Her True Blue album, album she did. Whoa. So kids, if you don't have that, if that one passed under your radar, if you're a Pat Benatar fan and that one passed under your radar because it didn't get a lot of radio play, get her blues album, Pat Benatar. You will not regret it, ever.
Well, and if memory serves, I believe she's on tour right now.
I think that could that would not surprise.
I think she is on tour right now. Yeah.
Oh, all right.
So something else I'm a little fired up about this morning. Well, I'm fired up about a lot of stuff. I mean, really, but it's so you know about the man in Winnipeg or Manitoba, I should say, who allegedly, in quotation marks, air quotes, dumped soil on the missing and murdered Indigenous women and girls mural at the Brady landfill in Winnipeg.
Yeah, so
remember that fella? Back of a pickup truck, shoveling dirt onto it, and then they sped away. Well, seems we all know he FO'd. Now he's FA'd. Now he's FOing. So I have a video clip here I want to show you. This is what happens when you FO. FA, you eventually find out. So
look at how they stand.
Come and play! Out here, though! On the boulevard!
Trust me, he doesn't have kids. He doesn't. This one ignored me. Blonde one ignored me. Dark hair has kids. That one has kids too.
So how do they know that he's not talking to their children?
They don't know that he's not talking to their children.
Apparently, they're going to search his stuff later.
Oh,
Then we stay till they search it.
well, we could show
then we
them,
can stay
can't
till
we?
you search his stuff.
Yeah, search his stuff. Arrest the
Guarantee you're gonna
pedophile.
find children pornography on his laptop.
Yep. Pornography on his laptop.
So there's a lot of speculation in that, but here's the thing about the clip. What you may have not noticed right away was the red painted handprints to signify, it's a symbol. And if you caught it at the very beginning, there's a pile of dirt on his doorstep. So it's funny how, I'm going to speculate he was probably a convoy supporter too.
That would be
so.
Things going here,
right? So, they come and park in my neighborhood for 2-3 weeks, almost a month, and rabble rouse. And the thing I saw yesterday online was, so let me see if I get this correct. You drive across the country, you park in downtown Ottawa, you erect porta potties, bouncy castles, community kitchens, but you're against 15-minute cities. You built a 15-minute city to support your cause, but you're against them. Okay, so that in and of itself is bizarre. But the second anybody retaliates and gives them a taste of their own goddamn medicine, they freak out and call the police. Well, you gotta, and of course the police are there you can see all the cops in that background of that video there to protect him. Now, am I suggesting we should go and do that to everybody who contributed to the convoy? No, I'm not.
No.
Am I suggesting that what was done to him is lawful and orderly? No, I'm not. I'm not suggesting that at all. But sometimes people get so fed up with getting pushed around that they fight back. Now, they put red painted handprints all over his fence, his door, his walkway, and dumped earth on his front step. That's pretty minor. It's pretty minor. Then there's a big crowd of people gathered outside yelling and screaming at him. Now, what they're accusing him of all kinds of other stuff, which I'm not going to wade into the weeds on that, but it's kind of like, dude, you messed around and suddenly you're discovering that people don't care for your type of behavior. And I'm going to go into another scenario here.
Hold on.
Sticking with women missing and murdered.
Hold on. I just want to clarify for the people listening at home.
Okay.
That what we saw was basically a video So from what I'm gathering here is that this person went and did this. They took their dirt and they put it on there. So members of the Indigenous community found out where he lived.
Retaliated.
Yes, dumped dirt on his own lawn, and then put the red handprint all over, which we saw on churches around the time that these unmarked graves were being discovered, and all over his lawnway like this, and then wrote the words MMIWG, and then sort of gathered out. And the thing that gathered around his place, and then the police were there trying to maintain the peace. When you talk about this reminds me of the Public Order Emergency Commission, when we had that former military guy and that woman on the stand, and they were asking him, so would you be okay if people did this in your neighborhood? And the guy said, I'd probably come up and join them. Yeah, but okay, no, not if they were protesting against Trudeau in your neighborhood. If they were protesting against you in your neighborhood, would you? I don't think he understood that little subtlety, because I'm sure he wouldn't feel the same way. Right.
So, well, and then they showed the video, right, immediately after that.
Yeah. So this is the same thing, right? It's like if all the people in Ottawa decided, you know what, we found out where these people live, let's go protest, like each individual 3 weeks before their home, honk, honk, honk. Let's see how much they actually do like it, right?
They couldn't handle 3 hours.
Yeah, but this is there's a parallel here.
That's what I'm getting. There is a parallel there. Yeah. And he flipped out, called the police, come and protect me, these people. And they were standing, they weren't even on his property. Yep. They're on the sidewalk, public property, screaming and yelling at him, and he couldn't handle it. Yep. Well, you fucked around, you're finding out. And here's where I'm going to lead this. I know I'm kind of taking over, but I got a lot on my head this morning. So I'm going to be as brief as I can with this and show you this next thing about how, well, I'll show you the clip, show you the graphic, and I'll read it to you. And it trigger warning, it's disturbing. But here we go. So let me blow it up a bit so you can see it a little bit better. So for the listeners, this is at Pipikwan, Pipikwan. Weird how all the people who usually scream about groomers and protecting children are real effing silent now. Missing 14-year-old Indigenous girl found in barracks of Camp Pendleton. A 14-year-old Indigenous girl went missing on June 10th, and on June 28th, she was found on Camp Pendleton after being sold to and exploited by a Marine. Her family is demanding justice, transparency, accountability, and action so this never happens to another Native kid ever again. When I read that, I don't even have the words, dude. I don't have the words for that one. They sold a 14-year-old girl.
Okay, according to Global News.
Of course not. Mainstream media doesn't give a shit about that.
Oh, no, it's in Global News. I did a quick search. There it is. But look, I listen to so many podcasts. So many. This is from July 10th.
Keep up with everything. Yeah.
June 10th. This did not feature in any that I listened to.
Right.
Yeah, a 14-year-old who went missing from her family's home outside San Diego was found by military police inside the barracks at Marine Corps Base Camp Pendleton, authorities said Thursday. A U.S. Marine was taken into custody for questioning in connection with the incident, though no charges have been filed thus far. Maybe there has since, because this article is from July 10th, so no.
July 10th.
July 10th, yes. The girl was said to have run away from her grandmother's house in the Spring Valley area on June 9th, though she wasn't reported missing until June 13th. Quote, the grandmother reported to deputies that the teen had previously run away before, but always returned home quickly, said Melissa Aquino, a media relations officer for the San Diego County Sheriff's Office. The 14-year-old was then located nearly 3 weeks later on June 28th inside Camp Pendleton's barracks. NBC San Diego was the first to report the incident a week later on July 6th. So a week between the time she was found and it was reported. That was the same day that Cassandra Perez, who identified herself as the 14-year-old's aunt, posted a TikTok claiming her niece was raped at the Marine barracks and was sold to a service member for sex. Quote, the military is trying to cover it up and place the majority of the blame on her. However, the reality is that the whole facility allowed this to happen, Perez says in the video. She did not provide any evidence to corroborate her claims. Quote, the security looked her in the face and allowed this man to bring a minor onto the base where he proceeded to have sex with her. Due to her age, she could not give this consent. Perez notes that her niece has learning disabilities. Let's just add an extra layer of predatory.
Yeah.
Right? Because this wasn't gross enough. Right. After the teen was found, she was interviewed by authorities and returned home to her grandmother, officials said. The Naval Criminal Investigation Service, NCIS, it's a real thing, is handling the investigation as Camp Pendleton is a Marine base. The San Diego Sheriff's Department and San Diego Human Trafficking Task Force are supporting the investigation. Quote, we can confirm that a Marine with Combat Logistics Battalion 5, 1st Marine Logistics Group, was taken into custody for questioning by NCIS on June 28, 2023. As seen on social media, July 2nd, 2023, Captain Chuck Palmer told NBC San Diego, referencing a photo of a Marine being led away in handcuffs, posted to Instagram. Quote, the incident is under investigation and we will continue to cooperate with NCIS and appropriate authorities. The Marine, who has yet to be identified, remains in the custody of his command and has not been officially charged. Quote, this command takes this matter and all allegations very seriously, he added. NCIS spokesperson Jeff Houston told NBC San Diego that, quote, out of respect for the investigative process, NCIS does not comment on, confirm details relating to, or confirm the existence of ongoing investigations. It's unclear how the 14-year-old was allowed to enter Camp Pendleton Barracks. Visitors to the sprawling base are stopped at the entrance and required to show authorization. Marines are allowed to bring a visitor on base and into the barracks until a certain hour, which varies according to each building. How much do you want to bet that we are going to find out that some of the people that allowed her in participated in the abuse?
You can pretty much put money on that one, my friend, and win.
Why do I have this horrible, horrible, horrible feeling that this is something we're going to find out?
This is a child. A child. Her body may be physically mature at 14, maybe. I'm not. She's a child. She's 14. She can't consent. And she has a learning disability. It's like, just pile it on.
Yeah. Wow. Marines are allowed to bring a visitor on base and into the barracks until a certain hour, which varies according to each building. Single junior Marines are generally assigned to the barracks where most share a room with at least one other Marine. The rooms generally have 2 single beds, a small refrigerator, eating area, secretary desk, closet, and wall lockers. The barracks also have common areas with pool tables and TV. Perez is demanding a transparent investigation into her niece's disappearance. Quote, we hope you would join us in calling and demanding both release of details as well as the pursuit of justice, she said. Our family is worried about retaliation from the military and the man that has trafficked my niece.
How's that for a start of a show on a Friday? Heavy duty shit. Yeah. It just...
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow.
And I can understand how that family is now quite literally afraid for retaliation.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yep.
That poor child. That child...
I have no words.
I know.
No.
I have plenty, but I'm not going to say them. They'd get me in trouble. I have plenty of words. I'm not going to use any of them right now because I don't need to get in trouble and I don't need to get our channel shut down, because if I use the words that I'm thinking, that is what would happen. So,
wow.
Sticking with the United States of America.
More.
No, there's another thing here.
Okay.
Sticking with the United States of America, but this also spills over into Alberta and how people have fallen down the conspiracy theory rabbit hole and believed that there's pornography in libraries, that librarians are transgendered, and that there's litter boxes for children who think they're cats to use in schools. So you know how that litter box thing started in the U.S., that rumor, right?
I don't know how it started. No, that's what I was wondering. Where the hell is this coming from all of a sudden?
Well, I'm going to put something on the screen that'll explain it. And I'll read it. There are litter boxes in some American schools. Why? Because they have so many active shooters that if kids are stuck in a classroom for hours, they have some place somewhat dignified to pee. That is where this ridiculous notion is coming from.
Okay, man.
Yeah.
You are doing me in this morning, my friend.
Well, we're going to lighten it up in a few seconds here. But that's where that rumor came from. That's where it came from. Not because children think they're cats. It's because so many...
You have no idea how long you're going to be in lockdown.
That's
and
just
it's not
it.
like you can
You
go to the
don't
bathroom
know.
and leave the room, the classroom.
You can't. You're hiding in a closet. So here,
God.
go.
Oh my God.
Take a wee in there.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
It has nothing to do with cosplaying furries. Nothing to do with that at all. It has nothing to do with teachers allowing students who think they're cats to pretend that they're cats and use litter. It's not it. It's there as a somewhat dignified means to relieve oneself. I don't know what happened there. Somewhat dignified means to relieve oneself in the event that the classroom is locked down because of an active shooter drill. Yeah, I know. We've failed as a society. We've failed.
The option is to make little changes to the gun laws that are reasonable, that 80% of the American agrees with, or put
80%.
litter boxes in classes and they opt for the litter boxes.
Yeah. We're in the upside down times, my friend.
Oh, God. Creator, give me strength.
Well, I just... You want to shift gears for a second? I'm gonna lighten it up and give you a graphic you can smile about for a couple of seconds. This is a Theo Moudakis political cartoon for those of you listening. It's the first panel has Prime Minister Justin Trudeau leaving a novelty socks store with some stripy socks, rainbow socks on. And the second panel has Pierre Poliver leaving outdated 80s wear with a Versace jacket with the sleeves pushed up. Thinking to himself, whose idea is this? While people in the background are pointing and laughing at him. Jeez. There, this lightens it up a little bit for you, because I know I came in pretty heavy.
Okay, well, here's something that will definitely lighten the mood. We have some genuinely good news. Happy news.
Excellent.
News that hopefully conservatives won't find a way to bitch about.
Okay.
But Mr. Jagmeet Singh and his lovely, beautiful, gorgeous wife are all smiles once again, because it seems they are expecting baby number two. Yay! Look at that! Look at them! They are so happy.
Well, and look at the daughter. She looks so excited. Like she's like, I'm gonna have a sister. Like, well, or a brother. Who knows? I'm gonna have a.
Oh, but look at them. They are so much in love. Look at that. Look, you know that Vogue thing when Trudeau's looking at Sophie, like this. It's like they're a makeup camera like this, and there's like they have eyes only for each other in that moment. You look at that picture, they love each other. They love each other. Like that. He's a proud
I have my
papa.
differences with Jagmeet. Sometimes he does things that I don't agree with, but that I'm going to have that with every single politician, right?
Yeah.
But he's a good man.
Mm-hmm.
He loves his wife.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think there's any question involved with that.
I see the way he's standing. I see the way his chest is. He's a proud papa. Congratulations to the happy family. That is such
good news.
That is wonderful news. I like to be able to share generally happy news. And
we got to have some good news from time to time.
Yes. Yeah. And since we're sharing some generally happy news, let's say hello to the kits who have joined us. Good morning, Kit Toronto D, Kit Diggs, by Diggs BT Dubs 7. Going, hey, what's up? Kit Grappling, Kit Mohan, lovely to see you. Oop, a coffee mishap this morning. Spilled. Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh, here at the Beaver Lodge, we cry over spilt coffee.
Yes, yes, we do.
And spilt beer. Kit Saucy, good morning to you. Hello, Mama. How you doing? Good morning, Kit Frank. Lovely to see you. Kit Tavi G. Who else do we have? Kit Jen. Good morning, darling. How are you? It's so lovely to see you. Thank you for joining us today. Kit Elaine. Hey, hey, hey. How are ya? There you go. Who else do we have today? Kit Ellen. I believe yeah, Elaine and Ellen. Okay. Yes. So I didn't. Good morning to you. And I think that's everyone, unless we had some late comers today. I'm just going through the chat, make sure I give a shout out to all of us who have joined us today. Oh my God, you guys are very active on the chat already. Holy crap. I'm still
It's a busy morning.
I'm still scrolling up, and we're only like half an hour in. Okay, I probably am going to miss a lot of you because you guys. Oh, bonjour, Kit Christia. Salut, mon chum. And Kit Mel, there you go. And if I missed you, I am so sorry, but you guys have been really active. That's a lot of things that I'm going to have to read after the show.
Yeah. And he reads all of them, by the way. I try and follow along as I can. My ADHD brain sometimes wanders off. Ooh, squirrel. Squirrel. There's a squirrel over here.
In news that's also personal news about some of our leaders, less happy. Green Party leader Elizabeth May has been hospitalized for overwork, fatigue, and stress, according to her husband. This was reported on July 10th. John Kidder said his spouse was undone by a punishing workload and spent a few days under observation at a hospital in her Vancouver Island riding before being discharged Saturday to recuperate at home. May, 69, will be off her feet for another week before resuming some of her usual summer duties. Kidder, who himself is a founding member of the Green Party in British Columbia, this is according to a CBC article here, blamed May's hospitalization on marathon voting sessions, which had MPs in the House of Commons until midnight some days in June, combined with her constituency duties and her role as a Green Party co-leader. And of course, she lives clear across the country. So, big travel schedule when she's going back and forth to do constituency stuff. Quote, does it not seem odd to you that we expect our parliamentarians to work double shifts through May and June, sometimes 19-hour days, to sit until midnight almost every day to keep up with their always demanding constituency work and still to have minds at all? Kidder said. Government House Leader Mark Holland extended the Commons sitting times to clear the legislative decks and pass some key government bills before 3-month summer recess. The Opinion Conservatives tried to stall some bills, which clearly didn't help the situation. With the support of the NDP, introduced a parliamentary maneuver called time allocation on several occasions to shut down debates and move bills to vote. Kidder said that in any, quote, decent union job, grievances would be, quote, flying thick and fast if workers had to deal with what MPs like May endure. He said it's acknowledged that in other professions, people, quote, cannot do their best work when they're overtired, and yet MPs are expected to handle, quote, routine 16-hour days in and out of Parliament, constant travel, instant responses to matters of urgency from constituents and the press to be available for any and all local matters, end quote. He said May recently attended 9 high school graduation ceremonies that lasted hours and Toronto's Pride Parade, all while carrying out, quote, the additional multiple-pronged job as leader of the Green Party of Canada, itself nearly regular full-time work for any reasonable mortal.
It's a punishing schedule.
It's you get a decent salary, and yes, there's an expense account, and yes, if you happen to be elected for a second time, you get a pension, a nice one. But if you're not phoning it in,
you're working your ass off.
Like many conservative backbenchers, if you're not phoning it in, you're
And look, all political individuals, no matter what your party stripe is, the majority of them work their butts off.
Yeah, the majority do, but
I'm not going to deny that.
What?
I'm not going to say the cons do this and the libs. No, it's no matter the party political stripe, they work their butts off. They do. They put in. It's a grueling, punishing schedule that a lot of people cannot handle for good reason. A lot of people, you will oftentimes have people bow out after one term because they're like, I can't do this. They're like, but you get the pension. I don't care about the pension. If it's going to kill me to get it, it's not worth it.
Yep. In response to claims that parliamentarians overworked, MPs voted recently to permanently extend a COVID-era hybrid policy that allows for virtual attendance and voting, which the Conservatives do not support. Which the Bloc also does not support. Another CPC BQ coalition move.
There's a coalition you didn't see coming, right?
Yeah, to make life easier for everyone and make governance easier and more professional, and doing things that would help us. Because well-rested MPs represent us better, but I guess conservatives and the BQ don't want that, because they want that moment in question period that they can get on a clip that we pay for, that they can then use. But Kidder also told constituents that May got a close-up and very personal look at troubling elements of Canada's vaunted healthcare system. He said they both lack a family doctor and struggled to get May seen by a professional when she fell ill. He said public healthcare is, quote, a messed-up system staffed by, quote, wonderful people who endure workloads like May's with even more personal stress. So, of course, wishing a speedy recovery.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Indeed.
Yeah. Be kind.
Would you like a little bit of Schadenfreude for a moment or two, sir? I've got some Schadenfreude for you if you like it.
Oh, I'm always up for some Schadenfreude.
Okay, you're gonna get a kick out of this one. You know how conservatives always claim we need smaller government, we need less government involvement, get rid of the gatekeepers. So this individual I'm about to show
I'm
you.
guessing that they're proposing a way for government to be all up in your grill.
Yep.
Okay.
So Kevin O'Leary, who ran for the leader of the Conservative Party a couple of years ago, he's mad because he lost $18 million investing with crypto. He was paid $15 million to promote it, lost all of it, and another $3 million. After he lost it, he claimed that it needs government regulations.
Oh, because it affected you.
It's just, I couldn't write this.
Kevin, it's not a gotcha investment just because the investment got ya.
Yeah. Oh, there's another one for you here. I got another one.
Oh, shit. There ought to be a law. I lost $3 million.
It affected me. Here's the next one. Another Kevin O'Leary for you.
Oh, lovely.
Blind to irony, a conservative complains that a socialist, in quotation marks, government isn't doing enough to help his businesses. I'm sorry,
It's
what?
amazing how government's all socialists to conservative businessmen until they need a hand up.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's not even that he needs a hand up. I mean, he's doing quite fine. It's just he just doesn't want that quarter's numbers to look bad.
Isn't he like worth $1 billion and he's mad because he lost 18 million, 15 of which was given to him to promote the thing that he lost the money on.
Again, alleged billionaire.
Alleged
billionaire. Right? They all claim to be, but they don't actually show us anything.
Well, of course not.
It's not like...
I mean, I could say I'm a billionaire. In my mind, I'm a billionaire because I think I'm rich because I have people that love and care and respect me. So in that respect, I'm a billionaire.
Yeah, but I mean, right. But it's like, it's not...
Don't look at my bank account, though. Don't look at that.
It's not like we have the option to walk up to them and say, show us your papers, or maybe, hey, how about make your taxes public? Especially if you're running for president. Oh, sorry. No.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. Did I go there again? I'm sorry.
You did. But that's okay.
That's okay.
That's okay.
Okay, I have something for you that is really interesting. So it's an account, DH, don't know who this person is, but said, I have never heard a more coherent, clear-eyed, unequivocal, honest, or compelling speech by PM Trudeau than this. This is what all of us...
I watched that yesterday. It was brilliant.
Yeah. This is what all of us should expect from every Canadian politician and public servant. It gets better and better the longer he speaks. And he is speaking to Muslim Canadians in an informal setting. So just sitting at a table. People explain.
No press. This is a phone. This is somebody holding up their phone and taking this video.
No press present. Wasn't intended for broad public consumption.
No.
But somebody clearly liked what the Prime Minister had to say. And this is about the whole wedge trying to be driven between the Muslim community and the LGBTQ community.
Right.
And let me point out here, right? conservatives around 2001, September 11th.
Yeah.
Hey, gay people, those damn Muslims will throw you off buildings. You need to support us in trying to squash their rights before they come and get you. Well, that didn't work because, well, we gay people, we kind of know what discrimination is like. So we figured we wouldn't do it to our Muslim brothers and sisters. Conservatives today. Hey, Muslims, them gay people that we tried to recruit to keep you down about 2 decades ago? Well, yeah, that didn't work. But hey, how about you help us now try to keep them down because they're trying to sexualize your children? They will.
This is the look of exasperation.
They will turn on everyone. Muslim Canadians, they tried to get us to keep you down. And that didn't work. So now they're trying to flip the script. They're saying whether or not you guys will be uncaring enough, whether you will live down to the stereotype they have painted of you as being intolerant and having loathsome feelings about your fellow human beings just because they're different. Just
I
like
can't believe
you.
Leopards that eat people's faces party would actually eat my face.
Just like you are different.
Uh-huh.
It's the same damn play. They're using you the way they used us 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Because they didn't hate us back then when they wanted our help to keep you down.
I climbed the ladder to success. I worked hard to get where I am. You did it on the backs of others.
All right. So let's see what the Prime Minister has to say. And let's see the reactions of the people as well that he's talking to.
Mm-hmm.
Because considering how the Conservatives expect Muslims to behave, which is why they're trying to recruit them to hate, right? They think they're inherently hateful, so let's weaponize that, right? They think that they're inherently bigoted. Conservatives are telling Muslims what they think about them.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Let's watch.
Roll the clip. I'm grabbing coffee. I have the speakers on. Oh, I'm getting an echo. Sorry.
All right. Here we go.
We see fit.
When the Prime Minister found himself confronted about this growing concern, his response was somewhat evasive. Trudeau suggested that the controversy surrounding the provincial curriculum were the byproduct of disinformation spread by American right-wing social media influencers. Watch.
No, and I've heard this concern many, many times, and I know that it is a very real issue. First of all, there is an awful lot of misinformation and disinformation out there. People on social media, particularly fueled by the American right wing, are spreading a lot of untruths about what's actually in the provincial curriculum. Like, the federal government doesn't control what's taught in schools. That's the provincial government that controls what's taught in schools. So that's not something that is directly on the federal government. But at the same time, the federal government is unequivocal about standing up for everyone's rights and freedoms. And the highest expression of parental rights is, of course, the safety and well-being of the child. Right? Your concern of the community is for the safety, the well-being, the strength and the protection for your children. I entirely understand. The one thing that is really, really important in Canada is a workplace that stands up for everybody's rights. And certainly when it comes to the Muslim community, this government has, well, we were the government that pushed back against the Conservatives that made a political campaign against the UCAP, that brought in a snitch line against Muslims. The Islamophobia pushed by the previous Conservative government in a whole bunch of different ways was something that we always stood against. Now, this government has been and will always be the strongest ally to all minority communities, including particularly Muslims who have faced terrible violence. When you look at the black Muslim women in Edmonton who were attacked, there is a run of Islamophobia we absolutely have to stand against. The issue, though, is that the Charter of Rights and Freedoms that protects your religion, gives you the freedom of religion, allows you to fully participate in the Society of Equal Protections protects all minorities as well. And it's not a buffet. You can't pick the protections you want out of the charter and leave aside others. Standing up for people's rights means standing up for everybody's rights. Now, if you look at the various curriculums, you'll see that there is not what is being said out there about aggressive teaching or conversion of kids to being LGBT. That is something that is being weaponized by people who are not doing it because of their interest in supporting the Muslim community. These are people on the far right who are consistently stood against Muslim rights in the Muslim community. But they are weaponizing the issue of LGBT, which is something that, yes, Islam has strong opinions on. The same way that the religious right in Canada, the Christian right, has strong opinions against as well. They're using those fears to drive a wedge between a government that will always stand up for all your rights, just like I will always stand up for the rights of LGBT kids, including if they're LGBT Muslim kids. And that standing up for everyone's rights is what you get with the Liberal government. We're going to defend your rights, even when you disagree with us defending other people's rights. And how we work to get along as a country and listen to each other and prevent people from activating baseless fears around lies and around, as you said, scaring your parents into what's actually being taught. That is hurting the fabric of respect and openness that allows Canada to be one of the places where we support and defend the Muslim community more than just about any other Western country in Europe.
And we appreciate that very much. That's probably a perfect example of what we saw in one of the elementary schools, where one of the teachers, she threatened and she told those kids, "You are not Canadian, you should leave Canada because you did not participate in Pride." And what happened to that teacher?
Whatever you want to say, just tell them how you feel.
Nobody knows about that.
That teacher got serious consequences because that is not something that is acceptable.
The government, this is what we need the government to come out and say, we do not support that, we do not accept that.
That is the federal government doesn't control what happens to teachers in the federal system. But it does not represent my position or the federal government's position that people need to be chastised for their religious beliefs. People are free to have their religious beliefs. Within all that, we have to make sure we are standing up and defending everyone's rights within the community. And that includes the right to be who you are and to love who you love. And that I know you feel, I know your parents' generation might have a little more uncertainty about that. And that's this generation and this generation can show that, look, the cost or the responsibility that comes with being in a free country that stands up for everyone's rights is that we will stand up for everyone's rights, including people from the LGBT community who are facing increasing levels of violence and hatred at the same time as the Muslim community is facing increasing levels of violence and hatred. At the same time as the Asian community is facing increase. The world is going in the wrong direction. And one thing is for communities that are facing hatred to start turning on each other rather than figure out how to support each other, how to listen, how to understand each other and work together. That's what Canada is. And it's not easy, and it causes clashes in cultures. But when it comes right down to it, the ability to stand up for everyone's rights is what leaves Canada the freest and the most successful country on earth. Appreciate that. Thank you.
Okay. Now, that is fantastic. The way he ends that Canada is don't remember to end the freest country in the world. So expect that to pop up a lot as a theme that's coming up because Canada, he says, Pierre keeps on saying that he's going to make Canada the freest country in the world. Prime Minister Trudeau is going to make the case that we already are.
Well, and so that was empathy compassion, and civics
Mm.
in 8 minutes.
Yeah. And notice how all the times he said, the gay community is facing violence, just like the Muslim community faced violence, I guess. Muslim community has opinions on Islam, just like Catholics have. He's always making a parallel or a link to another group, or linking. It's like, yes, you might be feeling this just like they feel that. You may believe this just like the other people believe, right? He's really, really, really good at this. And here's the thing. This is what he says to people. This is how he talks to people about other people in private.
Yeah. Because this was not meant
Right.
for public consumption.
Now look at the way conservatives talk about other people in public.
Mm-hmm.
Now imagine what they say in private when they have a meeting like that.
Well, I'm gonna bring it back to, when he first got into the political scene, I was not a fan. Didn't like the man.
Mm-hmm.
And I still don't see eye to eye with him on everything. But what he just did there was, not only did he get me going, yeah, agree with everything he just said, but I think he wins over hearts and minds when he does that, because empathy and compassion, and it goes back to what Bob Ray said. I don't know if he has the IQ of his father, but he has the EQ of his mother, and that's what we need right now.
Skitland M here says he's tying people together instead of trying to turn them against each other, and he doesn't need a comms person to tell him what to say.
Yeah, interesting how that works, eh?
So when I keep on saying, kids, vote for someone who does not show open contempt and disdain for a portion of the country, and vote for someone that when he's talking to you about matters related to the Constitution, tells it to you exactly as the Constitution is. It's the one thing I keep on saying. If you're going to ask him a question about governance, about civics, this man will not lie to you.
No. Well, he was a school teacher, right?
But you have the conservatives that keep on lying to you about every policy, every law. UNDRIP is going to give the indigenous people a veto. We can't form a code. The Liberals and the NDP can't form a supply and confidence agreement with the bloc. They've given the separatists a veto. Yes, Stephen Harper, I myself, single individual person, can walk in and single-handedly change the Senate, which requires a constitutional amendment, but I can do it all by myself. The outright lies about the Constitution, the way that this country is run. Lying, I've been saying it all my life. It should be a crime for an elected official to lie to Canadians about that which the law forbids and allows.
I completely agree with you on that. I completely, 100% completely agree with you on that. And they continue to do this. They continue to lie on a daily basis, and they continue to get away with it. And again, it goes back to, this is why we do this. This is why we have this show, this program, this platform, is because we want to call out the lies. We want to show you the truth. Even when we don't agree with the truth is the truth. And sometimes we're not going to like what we have to say and report on, but we're always going to be honest and factual with you.
Yeah.
Always.
Yeah, not so much that we don't agree with the truth, but let's say when we find the truth inconvenient.
Thank you. Yes. That's a better statement. That's a better statement. Sometimes my words are not good.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's like you don't get to agree or disagree with truth. Truth is truth.
Truth is truth. Yeah, period.
It just
you might not like it. You might not care for the truth. You might go, I don't really like that, but it is what it is, and there's nothing I can do. I cannot change a fact. Facts are facts. There's not alternative facts. There's facts, period. There's
facts and not facts.
That's right. So DH at D0J0H is his handle on Twitter. I started following him because after I saw that clip, I'm like, what else has this gentleman got for us? And I'm like, oh, well, this is interesting.
So good follow?
Yeah,
yeah, okay.
Let's have a look at this.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
With Michael Rice and Silvio de Gasperis filing court applications to block the Auditor General from calling them for interviews and getting documents from them. Do you think that they should participate in this process, or do you agree with Mr. Rice's assessment that this is overreach and that she's going on a fishing expedition by asking them to participate?
Well, again, just yesterday I just found out about this, but I don't interfere in the private sector. But
I'm sorry, your pants are on fire.
Sorry, hold stop that for a second. Stop that. I'm surprised you didn't take a step to the light to avoid the lightning strike that God would have sent to smite him right there on the spot. So I don't interfere with. Okay, lightning. Sorry, with people.
I'm going to have to put that in a loop. I don't interfere with the private sector. I'm going to have to. General, it's not even within her scope. She has to look for private sector. But I don't interfere in the private sector. 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 But the Auditor General, it's not even within her scope. She has to look for value for money. So I'm going to leave that up to them. I encourage everyone. I know our office is cooperating with the Integrity Commissioner and with the Auditor General. You know why, folks? We have nothing to hide. We need to build homes. Simple as that. This is private sector property, and the private sector should be able to do what they want and build homes.
I wanted
to point and mock every damn time. Holy crap!
It's like major. So I'll show you the tweet because it's funny.
Where's the B when we need it?
Well, so this is hilarious because DH's commentary on it is like, yeah, that's the vibes I was getting. Tricky Dick Nixon.
Yep.
I am not a crook.
Okay. First of all, did this guy really pretend that an auditor's only job is to find value for money and not have any forensic role in identifying corruption? At all? We have nothing. This man is scared shitless.
Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah.
Because and then they should be able to. Yeah, exactly, Mel. They should be able to do what they want. Business should be able to do what it wants. Yeah, I'm sure you'd love that. He thinks an auditor just needs a calculator.
Well, the line he gave.
Forensic audit. The word exists for a reason. The term exists for a reason. Forensic audit.
It was the line he gave a couple of weeks ago. We got to get these homes built for people who need them. Doug, you're building homes along a $1 billion highway that maybe a few people want, but not everybody wants. Through the Greenbelt, which you said you wouldn't touch, but you've touched. You sold the land to real estate speculative developers who are going to build houses that people who desperately need them cannot afford.
Who you had at a private home party for your daughter's wedding and asked donations from.
Like, they're not trying to hide the corruption.
Kid Jen, when we eat the rich, he's first, okay? Oh man, he is going to be lovely with a plum dipping sauce.
Can we start calling Doug Butterball, or is that too far? Have I gone a bridge too far on that one?
Yeah, it might be. But the thing is, see, that's the thing with him. It's like he deserves the term Butterball, and it has nothing to do with his size.
No, I know.
It has nothing to do with his physical appearance, but because of the way he looks like he does, we can't like this.
That's the question I'm asking.
But yes, yes, Butterball,
Boss Hog.
and just, and when he does that thing, when the people are asking the question, he's standing there and he's like, "Yes, yeah." You know that this is a question that he'd really rather you not be asking. Because he's working hard to present that face. Oh, yes. Yeah, I will answer your question. Oh, reasonable.
I just found out about this. How did I know about it then for the last few weeks as it's been in the news?
I just found out about it.
I just found it. Oh, you know why he just found out about it? He doesn't know how to use the interweb.
Oh, no, you just found out
he's
about
gotta
it
wait.
because it probably appeared in the Sun.
Yeah, it was on the front page of the Sun.
Ivana made sure Brian put something about it in it so Ford would see it. Oh, shit. Somebody flipped my switch to bitch today. Oh, man.
Well, you know, sometimes.
Kid Frank goes, I call him Bam Bam. Bam, 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 bam. Does that make Ivana Pebbles?
I guess.
Fruity Pebbles. Oh, no, it's Dick Ford's cabinet. We can't have any Fruity Pebbles there. Oh. Me and my mouth. Me and my big mouth. You seem to have found something?
Well, no, I just have something that I'm going to show you in a second here. We'll pivot back to Skippy in a few minutes. I've got something about Skippy and labor and unions and how he supports workers. Let's get workers to bring home powerful paychecks. But oops, look at this. 10 times Pierre Poliver attacked our labor rights. Not the only times, they don't all fit. June 2011, voted to order Canada Post workers back to work. March 2012, voted to order Air Canada workers back to work. April 2012, voted to support raising age of retirement. May 2012, voted to support raising age of retirement again. May 2012, again, voted to order CP rail workers back to work. December 2012, voted for Bill C-377 undermining unions. April 2014, voted for Bill C-525 undermining unions again. September 2016, voted to let your boss use scabs if you go on strike. November 2018, voted for Bill C-405 attacking right to keep pensions. April 2019, voted to let your boss use scabs if you go on strike again. But he's for workers and powerful paychecks.
Yep.
Keeps telling you, you know, I'm for freedom. I'm going to make Canada the freest country in the world. But if an MP goes to the World Economic Forum, I will disallow it and kick them out. Wait a minute. If you're disallowing them from traveling where they want to go on their own, isn't that a strike against freedom? You know what his brand of freedom is?
Freedom.
You know what his brand of freedom is? Freedom of all social programs and public health care. That's his brand of freedom.
Freedom from them.
From them. That's right. So he'll eliminate all social programs, including the CPP, because he sees that as a tax, and probably eliminate EI and ODSP and welfare because he doesn't like people getting help when they desperately need it because we're conservatives. We don't believe in these big government programs. That's the freedom he's selling you, folks.
Mm-hmm.
And if you believe otherwise, I'm going to use the term that they always like to use. Do some research.
Got the kids going, talking about the Doug Ford. He's often sounding like the governor in the best little whorehouse in Texas. I remember that when they were singing that song. It goes, was that a yes or a no? I think that was a definite maybe.
Definite maybe.
Oh man. All right. In the news, BC Wildfire Services has confirmed that the first death, amazingly, just the first death in all our wildfire season, which was a female firefighter who died fighting a blaze near Revelstoke. There are currently about 350 active fires in British Columbia. I believe over the course of the last weekend, lightning strikes started like 200 new fires in Alberta. It's a lot. It's almost like it's off the front page. right? But they're still raging. So of course, our cold comfort, but our hearts go out to the families and friends of this person who died clearly in service of the country. As we mentioned, the strike at the Port of Vancouver is over. They came to an agreement. There are about 28 huge container ships waiting to be emptied. It is expected it'll take a few weeks to get everything unclogged. But as mentioned, the business community is already clamoring for preemptive legislation to make sure that these people can never do that again. And I'm sure that PP would be very, very happy to lend assistance to that. Mm-hmm. And then if you happen to be living in BC as well, drought is an issue. 2/3 of the province's water basins have reached level 4 or 5, which is the most severe drought measurements. BC's Emergency Preparedness Minister Bowen Ma is quoted as saying, "As our government works with local communities and First Nations, I'm calling on everyone, including businesses set by First Nations or local authorities." Sorry. There's something missing from that. So basic calling on them to set rules, to follow rules that are set by First Nations or local authorities, and take steps to conserve water even above and beyond those restrictions. Every drop counts, and that's why everyone needs to do their part. 2/3 of the forest fires in British Columbia currently are considered to be out of control. And if you were in the Beaver Lodge area and at Mr. Grizzly's dens area, there was a bit of a atmospheric event.
I have the video.
Yeah.
Holy shit!
Wow. Whoa.
Yep.
Wow. Wow.
Multiple tornadoes yesterday in Canada's capital.
Yeah.
And what riding is that? What federal riding is that again with those tornadoes? Who's the member of parliament for that riding?
It is
it's escaping me. Oh, what's his name? His initials remind me of having to go urinate. His initials again. When I think of them, I have to urinate. Oh, PP, right? Yeah, Pierre Poliver. Yeah, that's his riding.
Yeah.
Where was he? Nowhere to be found.
Yes.
Where was his comment? He hasn't made one yet.
Really?
Yeah, nothing.
Wow. Okay. So by some amazing stroke of whatever, nobody was seriously injured. About 125.
I've got another video here. I'm going to put it on this. There's no sound. This is just drone after. So keep talking. This is drone aftermath video. Visual.
At least 125 buildings in the suburb of Barhaven, which is about 20 kilometers south of Ottawa, were affected. Power was knocked out to hundreds of homes. It hit around 1 p.m. Yesterday, it was really interesting because I had just finished watching the Wimbledon semifinal between Ons Jabeur and the name's Arena Sabalenka. And I was going out to have lunch with a friend. And just as I was walking out the doors when the alert came, like we didn't get any funnel cloud here, and just the way that the wind was rising and the way that the sky turned dark was pretty frightening. Environment Canada confirmed that only one tornado actually touched down in Ontario so far, which is that one, and one in Quebec in a field near Mirabel Airport around 4:30 p.m. To rate the tornado strength will take a little while to determine, so we don't have a number on that yet. There were also warnings in Manitoba for the town of Steinbach and 2 other rural municipalities yesterday, but it doesn't look like anything hit there. That's the second tornado in the past little while, because I think it was last week or not too much before that, there was one that tore through central Alberta in Mountain View, and it left a 30-kilometer path of devastation. There too, there were no fatalities, quick response by emergency responders, and it was described as big for the region because it stayed on ground for about 20 minutes and had damage over a very large area. Colin Miller with the Western University's Northern Tornadoes Project compared the other tornadoes you would typically see around Canada, and said that the one that hit Mountain View was a more significant event, and at least 5 had touched down in Ontario on that past week. According to Environment Canada, it seems that Canada's Tornado Alley is slowly moving eastward towards mostly populated moving eastward to more densely populated centers, which might lead to the need to impose more strict building codes and to build tornado shelters. I don't think there are many tornado shelters anywhere.
I don't know of any in this region.
Yeah.
I know that all construction is required for a serious seismic rating because Ottawa lies on a major fault line. But I don't know anything about like tornadoes. It's not something that's ever entered into our common vernacular. I'll put this link in the chat. This is from CBC. The CBC is going to defund the CBC. You know why Pierre wants to defund the CBC? Because they're going to show all these pictures, and he's not made a comment about it yet.
Yeah. What's going on does match climate change predictions. Tornadic storms are going to start happening more and more often in the eastern part of the country and less in the western part of the country. Like I said, Tornado Alley's moving east. There are usually about 60 each summer. There's already evidence this year of twice that many, around 150 or possibly higher.
Wow.
Already in the tornado season. Tornadoes normally stay on the ground for not more than 10 minutes. Which is why the one in Mountain View was pretty spectacular, because it was on the ground for about 20, and it was about 1 to 2 kilometers in size.
Oh, wow. That's big.
It was a huge one. Kit Saucy, get some advice here. Go to the bathtub, the center part of your home, without windows or basement. Also, it might seem a little counterintuitive, but open windows so the air can go through the house, so the house doesn't get lifted. I have a visual here about it. And remember that movie, The Neverending Story?
Mm-hmm.
When the nothing was coming to town?
I know the film. I've never seen it.
This literally looks like that.
Is that Montreal?
Yeah, Montreal.
Holy crap. Wow. That'll put some fear into you. Look at how fast that's rolling in, too.
Yeah, eh? And the lightning. Like, the whole city is dark. Like, really dark. Look at the buildings.
Oh, yeah.
That is frightening.
Look at how quick that came in. Like, wow.
Man.
That's pretty extreme.
I'd have seen that. I'd have been... Exactly. Toronto D. See, if I saw that coming at me, I'd poop my pants. That was literally what I was going to say as your comment appeared.
So, remember how I said Skippy hasn't made a comment about Barrhaven? His writing?
Yeah.
So this is his Twitter feed. I don't follow him, obviously, right?
Mm-hmm.
Join us tomorrow night in Surrey. This is 10 hours ago. Bring It Home rally, where we'll talk about building homes workers can afford and ending Trudeau's inflationary spending and taxes. Okay, so 10 hours ago. Okay, let's see. 12 hours ago. Shooting, stabbings, gangland killings. 8 years of Trudeau's catch and release madness. 13 hours ago, Trudeau's own federal agency came out today confirming what I've been saying for years. Government gatekeepers slow home construction, driving prices up and making homes unaffordable. Fire gatekeepers, bring home workers can afford.
Okay, let's talk about this one for a second. Federal agency, scroll up a bit. This government gatekeeper, Trudeau's own federal agency came out today confirming what I've been saying for years. Government gatekeepers slow home construction. If they were Trudeau's own federal agency, you think that they would have published a report making them look bad?
Yeah.
Fuck, he's dumb.
Unbelievably dumb. We'll keep scrolling down. Another killing, alleged by a repeat violent offender. We need jail, not bail, blah, blah, blah. 15 hours ago. 16 hours
and
ago.
Of course, it's a black man.
Yeah, of course.
And he highlights it.
Yeah.
Like the little girl on the TTC bus.
17 hours ago. Today, we got a deal to end the strike at the port. I've already addressed that one. There's no 17 hours ago.
Yeah. Anyway.
He has not addressed what took place in his own riding.
So the entire Public Order Emergency Commission was on. He didn't say anything about it until Trudeau testified. The president of the CBC asks to meet with him so she can inform him about what the CBC is about, what it does. He won't meet with her. A mom's organization to fight the opioid epidemic wants to meet with him to talk about his drug treatment policy and allergy to anything related to harm reduction. He won't meet with them. Let's see, the Governor General, former Governor General David Johnston wanted to meet with him to discuss foreign interference. He didn't have time for him. He's invited to get a security clearance. He won't do it.
You'll like this graphic.
Notice a theme?
Oh, yeah.
Notice a theme. He's not lifting a finger to help.
No, of course not.
The only thing I broke was the three conservative leaders, and Pierre is next. Let's hope. Let's hope. Let's hope. I mean, I was re-listening to the interview we had with Evan Scrimshaw the other day, and it's, saying, like, if you're looking at all the polls and the numbers and whatnot, like there's nothing in the patterns, anything that's indicating that this is government on its last gap or that Canadians are ready to throw the bums out. And I'm just hoping that that remains the case for the next 2 years, because they're going to win at some point. At some point, statistics say they're going to win. We just got to hope it's not a complete, total whack job that's leading the party at the time that it does. They need to lose a couple of times and spend a little more time in the sin bin and maybe decide, hey, this thing that we've been doing for the last 70 elections is not really working for us. Maybe we should try something different, like not hating the people we asked to vote for us.
Do you want to know something interesting? I just came across my feed. This is a total non sequitur, but it came across my feed, so I thought I'd today, in the year 1983, so that's 40 years ago today, McDonald's introduced Chicken McNuggets to its national menu.
Ooh, the Chicken McNugget.
which the late Anthony Bourdain said was the most disgusting thing he'd ever eaten in his life.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, well, there you go. There you go.
And this is a man who ate some pretty crazy stuff on some of his programs. I'm not going to mention one of the things I saw him eat that I almost vomited when I saw him do it. And he said the thing from that national chain was the most disgusting thing he ever ate. I'm like, you ate a part of a warthog that, anyway.
Oh, man. A gentle correction I need to issue on myself. The other day when we were talking about NATO and we were talking about Norway, because I had stated with very firm assurance that Norway was not a part of NATO. I was wrong. Norway is a part of NATO, has been since 1949. It's the EU that Norway is not a part of.
I thought so. I'm like, when you said that, I'm like, that doesn't make sense, because my father went to Norway in 71 and then again in 91. And he's the only person in the history of the Canadian military to go to that same NATO summit. It was like a big war games sort of scenario thing. And he was the only person in the Canadian military who did both, which I thought was kind of interesting. Yeah.
Interesting.
71 and 91.
Well, and here's the other thing. The reason why I should have known that, the Secretary General of Norway, Jens Stoltenberg, is Norwegian.
Yeah. The NATO secretary. Yeah.
No.
I knew Sweden wasn't.
The Secretary General is from Norway, but no, Norway's not a member of.
Sweden and Finland weren't, but they're joining. They're in now.
Kit, sometimes I'm really cute and none too bright.
Well, if you look good,
you can get far on cute. The Creator gives us all a little something to get by. Cute is my fallback if everything else fails. Sorry, excuse me. I gotta cut.
Hit the cough
There we
button.
go. Oh my God. Ooh. Yes. You gave me these pearly whites that I flash and these eyelashes that I flutter, and then I smile, and hopefully someone will take pity on me and help me. If all else fails. Norway, member of NATO since 1949. You heard it here second. Sorry, kids. It's just like, I know, because after I said it, because I was so confident, I thought maybe I should go check that. They all can't be winners, kids. They all can't be winners. All right. While the Prime Minister is off at the NATO summit, Minister Joly and I believe it was Secretary of State. You know what? I'm going to come back to that because for some reason the thing is not highlighted. Okay, I don't know where that went. Sorry. Yep, don't know where that went. There we go. I found it again. Secretary Anthony Blinken and U.S. Secretary Anthony Blinken and Canadian Minister of Foreign Affairs Melanie Joly are in Jakarta, Indonesia, at an ASEAN forum. That's I think the Association of Southeast Asian Nations, to strengthen relations with those nations. China is proposing to the ASEAN nations an alternative to the CPTPP economic pact called a Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership. They're there, I'm guessing, to counter-program, I would assume. Joly will discuss issues including regional stability and respect for the rules-based order. ASEAN, one of the main issues on their agenda is that they've had trouble coming up with a unified response to the 2021 military coup in Myanmar. So that's going to be the big issue over there. But people are doing the international work of shoring up because people are noticing how China is positioning itself and maybe want to. I mean, I know everybody's saying that nobody's trying to contain China, but they're trying to contain China.
I gotta show you something that comes as a bit of a shock.
As Bo's the fifth column calls it, the international poker table where everyone's cheating.
I gotta show you this. This is 2 hours old, and it's not the headline so much as it is the source of the headline that is surprising. When I show you this, you're going to be in for a shock.
Okay.
I know I was, but it's kind of, I'm just going to put this on the screen. So the source, right, and then the headline.
Okay, sorry. But read it.
The source is from the National Post, and the headline says, "Why Canada Keeps Missing Its NATO Spending Target, and Why Conservatives Aren't Promising to Meet It."
Okay. What did they say?
Well, where is it? Conservatives have attacked the Liberals for letting NATO down, with MPs Michael Chong and James Bezin stating in a press release this week, last year the Trudeau government spent 1.29% of our GDP on defense, putting Canada 25th out of 29 NATO members. A year after the war in Ukraine began, this borders on negligence. As Conservatives, we support the commitments Canada has made to NATO, and we must make an effort to meet them. Poilievre's office declined to clarify the party's position on defense spending, saying that their MP's statement stood as is. What the Tories haven't committed to is when their promised efforts would actually meet NATO's 2% spending target. In a debate during last year's leadership race, Poilievre was the only candidate to refuse to commit to the benchmark, instead insisting that Canada needs to work towards hitting that goal and know the money we spend gets results. Interesting. Yeah. Interesting. Especially considering the source.
Yeah, really. Really?
They bat for him, right? They bat for him, and yet they're saying, well, he's not going to do it.
Huh. Wow. Jeez.
Yeah, it's broken clock.
Yeah. Do you have something else, Mr. Grizzly? I'm looking for a clip here.
I have one more graphic I can show you, which I think you'll find interesting. I know I certainly did. So which G7 economies have the highest inflation? So all items, the UK is 7.9%, Italy is 7.6%, Germany is 6.1%, France is 5.1%, the US is 4.0%, Canada is 3.4%, Japan is 3.2%, the G7 overall is 4.6%. All items less food and energy were a little bit higher. Food is a little bit higher, but we're still amongst the lowest in the G7 for food and energy. And actually, our energy is down. So kind of interesting. If you look at that graphic, it's from Statista. The sources are the OECD and the Statistics Bureau of Japan that released that. So I thought that was kind of interesting.
I like that one, actually. You need to send that one to me because it's good to see the core inflation when you strip out those two things. Because as we know, the Bank of Canada has announced that it has raised the interest rate to 5% the other day. And it seems that even though the reported news was that the Bank of Canada seemed to be indicating that 5 would be where it would stop, turns out yesterday, not so much. They left the door open to yet another one at their next meeting in September. This is starting to cause some consternation among some people because, well, first of all, we haven't been at 5% since 2001. And Tiff Macklin, the governor of the Bank of Canada, told us in July 2020, interest rates are very low and they're going to be there for a very long time. And a lot of people banked on that before making decisions like going to buy a house, like we did, for example. And then we got to experience really soon after the fastest and most aggressive cycle of interest rates ever in Canadian history. Now, Tiff Macklin is saying today, if we don't do enough now, we'll likely have to do even more later. But if we do too much, we risk making economic conditions unnecessarily painful for everybody. And it seems that that is the case because as we reported last month when we noticed it, it seems that now it is being reported in the main press that interest rates themselves are the primary drivers of inflation. Mortgage interest costs are up 30% alone year over year. So the CPI at the most was like, what, 8.4? But mortgage is up 30.
Yeah.
Okay. If you strip out mortgage costs, inflation is already within the target window that the Bank of Canada said that it wanted to reach. So why are they still doing it then? The market puts
in-depth discussion about this on Monday's show.
Yeah, the market puts the risk of this at 83% of another rate increase in September. the banks, a lot of people are criticizing the banks because they're saying that the bank is using an old play, that the bank is worried about what happened in the 80s where there was a wage price spiral and they had to act to curb that down. So they're acting like this situation is the same situation as the last time they experienced it, and they're trying to apply remedies to that problem rather than the one that's here. Jim Stanford, the director of the Center for Future Work, and he's an economist, says that inflation has gone down from 8 something to 3.4%, but it was all driven by a decrease in energy costs. It had not much to do with the Bank of Canada's action on interest rates. So, if that does happen to be true, said the Bank of Canada's policies currently are contributing to the inflation. I'm versed enough in economics to be able to speak with it somewhat competently with someone who knows a lot about it. But this situation, I'm not getting.
Yeah, I'm a little out of my depth on this one.
This particular one, I don't understand how you raise interest rates to curb inflation while the very act of interest rates is making inflation. It seems that you may need to lay off that tool for a little bit.
Well, the feudal lord's got to keep the serfs down, right?
It's a weird mix of variables that, yeah, I don't know, man.
I don't know.
This one's weird. It just seems to go against all orthodoxies. You know, if something that you're doing is increasing inflation, you stop doing it, but they say that they still need it because they're worried about wages creating a spiral. It is true that in the last numbers, though wage increase was abating relative to inflation, it had gone up 0.1%. So in other words, the rate in the month previously, wages were growing about 0.9% faster than the rate of inflation. And then the last one, it was 1% faster. So a slight acceleration, even though the levels have both moderated down. If they're really, really focused on that, if they're still stuck in the 80s, given that wages just surpassed inflation and there's some catching up to do, so people can get some of their purchasing power back that they've lost, it just seems right. You're getting back the purchasing power on the interest, on the CPI, the inflation reduction, and then the Bank of Canada is just taking it away with the other hand with the interest rate hike. There's going to be a point at which people like me are not going to tolerate yet another hike without having some backlash. So I know that the bank is independent, but the bank doesn't seem to be helping the government. It's not their job to help the government.
No.
But the bank's actions do not appear to be helping the government reduce inflation at the moment.
I don't. Yeah. Again, out of my league on this one.
So, and of course, well, that'll create another opportunity to blame Trudeau.
Oh, yes, of course. Yeah. Trudeau, right? He doesn't control the bank. And as a matter of fact, it is in the bank's charter that if the prime minister tells them what to do and the head of the bank follows through on what the prime minister tells the head of the bank to do, the head of the bank needs to resign the next day because they cannot be seen to be influenced by the government. Like they're an independent organization and they have to be.
Yeah.
There's very good reason for that.
Now, talking about more labor strife, the SAG-AFTRA Actors Union did
Mhm.
vote for the strike. It's not only going to affect people in Hollywood or in New York City. It affects a lot of productions in Toronto. Also in
It'll
Canada.
affect millions of people.
Yep.
Millions of
Yep.
people.
And a lot of these productions, once they shut down, they take a while to ramp up. Some of the productions or the projects get lost together because the actors are then committed to other. Actors are often committed to projects 1-2 years ahead,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
Sometimes you go audition for a show. Like, let's say if you're a stage actor, you're working on a show and you go audition for one like this, and it's going to open like in 9 months or a year, right? You need to book these things far enough in advance. It's like when you're booking a tour, for example, right? Like Madonna
Mhm.
recently canceled a portion of her tour because she had a viral infection. It's like, well, do you know how long in advance you have to plan a stadium tour to get those dates?
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
It's not
So it's
not an easy thing to
yeah,
cancel.
it's not an easy thing to cancel or reschedule. So they went on strike, and Fran Drescher.
Yeah, she's the president. I didn't
I
know
didn't
that.
know that. Actress I love.
Mhm.
We all know Fran Drescher one way.
The name.
Yeah, Mr. Sheffield. Right?
Mhm.
Watch this. You're
Let's see.
going to have
It's
a
good.
very different impression of this lady.
Yeah.
And number one, like, I am not saying she's acting here. She's not.
No.
But if somebody ever gives this woman a dramatic role one day, somebody
She's
needs
gonna
to do
knock
a
it out of the
remake
park.
of Norma Ray
Yeah.
and cast her in Sally Field's role.
Agreed.
Okay.
Let's watch.
Yeah.
Shall we?
Let's go, Fran.
We are the victims here. We are being victimized by a very greedy entity. I am shocked by the way the people that we have been in business with are treating us. I cannot believe it, quite frankly. How far apart we are on so many things. How they plead poverty, that they're losing money left and right when giving hundreds of millions of dollars to their CEOs.
Today, we embark on a new important chapter in our union's history. Earlier this morning, the SAG-AFTRA National Board convened following 4 weeks of negotiations with the Alliance of Motion Picture and Television Producers, the AMPTP. Because the AMPTP remains unwilling to offer a fair deal on key issues essential to protecting the livelihoods of working actors and performers, SAG-AFTRA's National Board unanimously voted to issue a strike order against the studios and streamers. From the time negotiations began on June 7th, SAG-AFTRA staff and the members of our negotiating committee have worked overtime, devoting their evenings, weekends, and holidays to achieving a deal that would ensure a sustainable future for the acting profession. But despite our team's efforts, the AMPTP has remained steadfast in its commitment to devaluing the work of our members. Actors deserve a contract that reflects the changes that have taken place in the industry. Unfortunately, the current streaming model has undercut performers' residual income, and high inflation has further reduced our members' ability to make ends meet. Additionally, industry expectations around self-tape auditions mean performers are bearing casting costs that were once the responsibility of producers. To complicate matters further, actors now face an existential threat to their livelihoods with the rise of generative AI technology. We've proposed contract changes that address these issues, but the AMPTP has been uninterested in our proposals. Because of this, the board has determined that union members should withhold their labor until a fair contract can be achieved. A strike is an instrument of last resort. We've tried for 4 weeks to reach a deal with the AMPTP, and unfortunately, they have left us with no alternative. Although we're all disappointed with the AMPTP's reluctance to cooperate, the solidarity among SAG-AFTRA members has never been stronger. Based on the enthusiasm I'm seeing from everyone, I truly believe this union has the unity and the resolve needed to fight for the future of their careers.
Okay. I do not know why this.
The entire business model has been changed by streaming, digital, AI. This is a moment of history that is a moment of truth. If we don't stand tall right now, we are all going to be in trouble. We are all going to be in jeopardy of being replaced by machines.
Okay.
You cannot change the business model as much as it has changed and not expect the contract to change too. We're not going to keep doing incremental changes on a contract that no longer honors what is happening right now with this business model that was foisted upon us. What are we doing? Moving around furniture on the Titanic? It's crazy. So the jig is up, AMPTP. We stand tall. You have to wake up and smell the coffee. We are labor and we stand tall and we demand respect and to be honored for our contribution. You share the wealth because you cannot exist without us. Thank you.
She drove the point home.
She drove the point home. The weird. I apologize for this one because the clip that I saw going around that I couldn't find took all her clips and put them together. One that made it look like one full
That was
speech.
a raw feed you got.
Yeah, it was a raw feed that made it look, and it was way more impactful. Actually,
still, she knocked it out of the park.
But yeah.
Well, let's stay on labor. I have a clip for you here. It's 1 minute and 7 seconds from the best looking delivery driver I've ever seen in my life. You'll see what I mean in a second.
Yeah, 42 an hour is definitely not enough. Even the company thinks so. That's why we're getting a raise. Yeah, we're going to get a raise, and we do every year. It's about $1.40 to $1.50 every year, and it's going to be higher around this one. We're not going on strike because the drivers aren't getting their raise. You know, our raise has already been negotiated. The full-timers, the drivers, like, we're going to get ours. 42 is not enough, and we're going to get more than that. We're going on strike because the part-timers are only making 16 an hour, and that's unacceptable. And I will stand next to my part-time brothers and sisters and make sure they get theirs on this one too. And I'll sacrifice 2 weeks of work if it has to, because that's what solidarity is. That's what we do, all right? And how the hell do you think we got to 42 anyways? By sitting back and accepting 35? Nah, no. We demanded what was ours, and that's what we're doing now. And 42, that's what it is now. In August, when that contract gets signed, we'll have more than that. And it's going to keep going up every year because their profits go up every year.
Their profits go up every year.
Yep. And in the UK, which has been having a lot of labor strife as well, it seems that Rishi Sunak is putting his foot down. Hope it works out for him. But because inflation is way higher there. Right, about 8.7. So they had an independent review panel, and they said they recommended 5 to 7% increases for policemen, teachers, and certain public sector workers, which seems like a lot, but it's still below the rate of inflation. Rishi Sunak is quoted as saying, "Today's offer is final. There will be no more thoughts on pay. We will not negotiate again on this year's settlements, and no amount of strikes will change our decision. Instead, the settlement we've reached today gives us a fair way to end the strikes." Now, this could be something that union leaders present to their members and they vote for, or this could be oh, really? No amount of strikes will change our decision? Let's see about that. Let's see.
Yeah.
So, not quite exactly sure because I don't have the context, but I've rarely heard someone say, I've heard people say, this is our final offer. But I've never heard no amounts of strikes will change our decisions, because that just seems like an invitation. It's almost like a dare me And you know there's some people when you say don't push that red button, that big bright red button, they just
You have to. You got to do it.
button.
Got to do it. Got to do it.
Just want to I just want to I really just want to press the button. It's like, oh yeah. Yeah, Kitlan, we're not negotiating. This seems like a poor negotiating tactic. But again, look at the contrast, right, between Seamus O'Regan. Because you're not that far apart, and how far apart you are does not justify further disruption. We're going to have somebody come in, split the difference, make you a settlement offer. This one was an independent review board said, this is what you should get. We agree with it, and this is what you get. Slight difference. Like I said, it's leading with your chin, because you can't predict what it is that people are going to do. So he's trying to put a foot down. Let's see if that works out for him. Depends how bad it all depends on how mad the workers actually are.
And we're about to find out,
because it is still an offer that's below. All right. Let's see. Oh, that thing we talked about yesterday when we were doing the juicy U.S. news about this guy, Ray Epps, who's suing Fox again. Something I missed in the reporting, but found out after. Just a little tidbit. Turns out that the lawyer who is representing Mr. Ray Epps is the same lawyer Dominion Voting Services hired when they got over $700 million from Fox.
Wow.
I'm thinking he has a real good case. Oh, well. And when we told you that thing about the Iowa abortion ban, turns out that Iowa Republican, of course, State Governor Kim, female, Reynolds, there's a special place in hell, as Madeleine Albright would say, called a special one-day marathon 15-hour session of the Assembly solely for the purpose of passing this law. That's how dedicated and determined these people are to taking away your rights. And it's like, and everything that's happened in the United States, it's literally a preview of what they have planned for here, if we let them. And when she did that, she said something like, justice for the unborn should not be delayed. Just for the unborn. People who are not born don't have rights.
No, they do not.
People who are not of this world do not have rights. But justice for the unborn should not be delayed. So she opened a session specifically for that. It passed, and she wants to sign it so it comes into effect today. That's a very quick turnaround. On the upside, the U.S. has approved the first ever over-the-counter, no prescriptions needed, birth control pill.
Oh, that's a first.
Yeah, not an abortion pill, but birth control pill. You don't need a prescription over the counter, even for teenage girls.
That's good.
Now, watch all the laws in these states preventing the sale of that medication pop up.
Well, we'll go back to this clip again from some time ago. This is we've shown this in the past. This is Reverend Robert Schenck. I don't know how to pronounce his name. Schenck. I'm going to show this clip again. Regis sent this to me, and I'm like, this is very timely because this is what we're talking about. So let's go back to this clip, shall we? Any second now, if it loads.
Congresswoman Lee, I'll take you to one very telling event. A meeting inside the U.S. Capitol with Republican Party operatives, and a number of leading evangelical spokespersons, institutional leaders, ministry heads from across the country. And in that meeting that I participated in, the conversation went something like this. You guys want Roe v. Wade overturned. We can do that for you. But you take the whole enchilada. You take the whole thing. You take everything else that comes with it. Because if you want Roe gone, you have to work with us. So you take it all. I was at the table, and I watched my colleagues nod uncomfortably, but from that point on, the community that I had served and still do made a deal with the devil. And that deal was that we would support everything on the conservative agenda, whether or not we had conscientious conflict with it. The means were justified by the end of that.
And it also meant that you had to approach the Supreme Court in a different way, that they had to be influenced?
Well, certainly we had to do everything we could to ensure that the justices would be resolved to begin laying the groundwork for the reversal of Roe.
Mm-hmm.
That's heavy.
That was a testimony delivered on December 8th, 2022 to the U.S. House of Representatives Committee on the Judiciary. And Reverend Dr. Robert Leonard Schenck, who is an ordained evangelical minister of 40 years and the former lead missionary for Faith and Action in the Nation's Capital, a religious organization active on Capitol Hill between 1995 and 2018. Since 2015, he became the founding president of the Dietrich Bonhoeffer Institute in Washington, D.C., named after the renowned World War II German theologian and Nazi resistor, who worked to protect the German evangelical church from Nazi co-option before being executed at the Flossenburg concentration camp in the waning days of the war. The institute he now represents supports and encourages ethical and morally courageous leaders to address the social crises of their time and has taken a particular interest in gun violence prevention and immigration issues. In his testimony, he said that until recently he was a national leader in the anti-abortion movement and was based in Buffalo, New York. And that his most ambitious undertaking was Operation Higher Court, which involved recruiting, training, and deploying wealthy volunteer couples who they paired with sympathetic Supreme Court justices and their spouses to bolster, encourage, and applaud the justices' conservative opinions. So basically adopt a justice.
Mm-hmm.
Sort of like Harlan Crow was doing, where he really adopted Clarence Thomas, actually gave his mom a free place to live. $10,000 vacations, luxury yachts, cigars, cigarettes, fresh mints, cigars, cigarettes, fresh mints. Yeah. While I will describe that effort in more detail, well, anyway, he says like this. He described the effort in detail, which is what you saw in some of the testimony here. But like the Reverend Michael Corwin, who he interviewed, something happened somewhere along the way in his faith. It was around 10 years ago I started questioning my religious community's positions on guns, abortion, same-sex marriage, and religious liberty, among other concerns. I eventually broke with the orthodoxy I had long followed and became a dissenting voice among my culturally and theologically conservative peers. Finally, in 2018, I closed down Operation Higher Court and its parent organization, Faith and Action. Today, I advocate for an empathetic, humane, and reality-based approach to complex moral problems and personal crises, respecting the dignity, autonomy, and moral agency of the individuals involved. My 2018 book, Costly Grace, an Evangelical Minister's Rediscovery of Faith, Hope, and Love, tells the story of that transition.
Crisis of conscience, right?
Crisis of conscience.
When the person comes to realization that I've been wrong all this time and I've hurt people, so I'm going to make up for it now. And you could, like, in that gentleman's statement, you could hear his voice.
Yeah, shake.
he was shaking. He's like, we made a deal with the devil and we accepted it. And how do you put the genie back in the bottle, right?
Exactly. Couple of more interesting U.S. news to go with the juicy stuff that we said yesterday. It seems that Jared Kushner has testified before the grand jury investigating the January 6th insurrections on whether 45 had acknowledged in the days following the result that he had lost. Because there's what he was saying in public, but to his inner circle, did he acknowledge as he lost? Well, Kushner was very, 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 very involved. In fact, he was the second most involved behind Stephen Miller, vampire, Nosferatu, Miller. And so he has a lot of details as to how things went down with regard to post-election fundraising efforts, pushing the big lie.
Yes.
It seems that Special Counsel Jack Smith is also leading, not only leading the campaign, was also leading a campaign finance investigation for a third set of indictments that may add to the fake voters on those voter lists, the fake electoral college voters, and the documents. Michigan Secretary of State, which is another one of the 7 states, I'm guessing he was trying to put pressure on to flip. Jocelyn Benson has already also spoken with Jack Smith's team. Oops. And the former White House communications director at the time of the insurrection, working for Trump, actually testified that Trump said to her, "Can you believe that I've lost to this fucking guy?" Mark Milley, the chief of defense, says that 45 told him he lost. There's about 6 people recorded. They have the recordings of them, like this, that they've made, saying how Donald Trump acknowledged in their presence that he lost.
Yes.
And you have, remember, Steve Bannon did say before the election that Frumpy would say that he had won even if he lost.
Yeah.
Right? He had telegraphed that. So, just a little juicy. And something that is less, well, equally juicy, but not in the good sense. Back in 2021, the state of Georgia with Governor Brian Kemp, or he was Secretary of State Brian Kemp and then become Governor Brian Kemp or something like that.
I'm not sure.
He actually was the Secretary of State of an election that he was running in. So he was actually the Secretary of State that was regulating the election that he ran in against Stacey Abrams to become the governor. No conflicts there. But it seems that they passed a law at that time to say that would allow any citizen in the state at all, for almost any reason, to challenge another citizen of the state's registration on the voter rolls. And it seems that there have been over 100,000 challenges to people being on the voter rolls. Now you say, oh my God, there must be so many people upset that these voter rolls are so poorly maintained. Yeah, those 100,000 claims were made by a total of 6 people. So apparently you have unlimited claims. One election denier submitted more than 30,000 challenges on their own. And now the Republicans want to bring in a new law to do that federally. 5 of the 6 are known associates of right-wing organizations whose leaders challenged the election results. And the data analysis of those challenges, well, surprise, surprise, they're mostly people who voted in Democratic primaries, because in the United States, for some silly reason, you need to register with the party before you vote, which lets everybody kind of know how you vote, which is really, really weird.
Right?
And people have access to that information. So your vote is not really secret. I mean, your actual
It's
vote
not a
is
secret ballot at all.
who you are likely to have voted for is not a secret. And it seems that most of the challenges happen to voters in the Atlanta or outlying areas, which is the Democratic stronghold in the states. Just how convenient. And they're also talking about this Kemp guy. They're saying that, if Trump gets taken out because of this legal stuff, well, none of the other candidates that we have are anybody that we want either. So maybe we need to recruit something. So they're already thinking of recruiting the governor of Virginia, who just won that state, Glenn Youngkin, who's, sort of tried to do the Trump light thing, or Brian Kemp himself, the governor of Georgia. And the reason why they really want Brian Kemp, the governor of Georgia, is because he's the one, even though he's full-blown Republican, he's just as crazy as the rest of them. On this one thing, he did stand up to Trump. He didn't find them those 11,780 votes. So he can do the Mike Pence thing.
Yeah.
I stood up for this. He's full-born Republican, but he's not MAGA. And Mitch McConnell really, really wants him to run.
It's a difference. It's like conservatives and progressive conservatives.
Right. Yeah.
And I've got a case in point.
Except the conservatives in the United States are not even progressive. I mean, there's it's mostly in the United States. There's conservatives and then MAGA conservatives, but there is no progressive.
No, there's nothing progressive.
Oh,
but I've got something for you here. I'm gonna put this graphic on the screen. This is from Greg Smith in St. John's, Newfoundland. I've had a few people reach out about Eugene Manning's Newfoundland and Labrador Progressive Conservative Leadership Campaign, as I was a part of the team. I just want to let you all know that I have stepped away. I agree with the Manning campaign on many issues. However, my political ideology and vision are different than theirs. I believe in being transparent and not having to defend my values for the company I or my close network keep. Therefore, I cannot support any association with the CPC as a queer man and as an advocate of 2S LGBTQIA+ rights. Pierre's recent remarks on Policy 713 in New Brunswick and his decision to pose for a picture with someone while wearing a straight pride shirt this past week in Calgary has helped lead me to this decision. I have been clear from day one that I am a moderate and not a member of the Conservative Party of Canada under Pierre Poilievre's leadership. Greg Smith, July 13th, 2023, St. John's, Newfoundland.
We need more of this.
We need a lot more of this.
Log cabin conservatives, this party is not in it for you. You need to leave. And I'm looking at you, Melissa Landsman and Eric Duncan. He brought you into the inner circle. There was this article the other day about Melissa Landsman. Hopefully I can find it really quickly here. No, not really quickly. Unfortunately.
I got some.
Do you have it?
I've got some. Yeah, I got something else for you.
No. Okay, but do you have the
in the morning
thing, the article?
No, I don't have the article.
Okay,
sorry. I don't have the article.
Okay. The thing with Melissa Landsman, right? We remember Miss Stock Photo.
Mm-hmm. Chevlas, with the empty Chevlas. They didn't even fill shelves correctly. Chevlas.
And remember at one point somebody said or accused her of siding with the Nazis. And then she stood up in the House and she got all upset that someone would dare accuse her, a member of the Jewish faith, of supporting Nazis. And while she was standing up there and she was all doing that fiery defense, trading on her religion for likes and clicks, kind of forgot to mention that she was lesbian, and that she also objected to the insinuation that she would help Nazis on the basis that she was a lesbian, because that pink triangle basically came from nowhere. Yeah. There was an article in the Globe and Mail on November 20th, 2019, and it says the Conservatives can't be stuck in the past on LGBTQ rights. 4 years later, clearly they are. And it was written by Mr. Grizzly, if you will put it up, please.
Sir.
If you would read it, Mr. Grizzly.
Conservatives can't be stuck on in the past on LGBTQ rights. I got to blow it up so I can. Melissa Lantzman is Vice President, Public Affairs at Hill Knowlton Strategies. Jamie Ellerton is Principal at Public Relations Firm. This is who wrote this.
That's who wrote it. Melissa Lantzman, in 2019, said Conservatives can't be stuck in the past on LGBTQ rights, and now she is the deputy leader of a party whose leader stood next to someone wearing a bright green t-shirt asking people to thank a straight person for their existence, which on the back of it said, good people break bad laws or disobey bad laws. And she is also, may I remind you, sharing benches with Garnet Genuitz and Brandon Leslie, who both are champions of conversion therapy. But she is only offended at the suggestion that she may have aided and abetted or provided comfort to Nazis or neo-Nazis or wannabe Nazis or just general bigots on the basis of her faith solely, but not her sexual orientation, which she will not stand up for. She did not stand up for, even though she read an article. You got to stop being stuck in the past. Seems to me that hanging around with people who want people to thank straight people for their existence might be being stuck in the past.
You know, it's
but yet she is still a member of the party. She has not pulled a Greg Smith.
Yeah, it's no secret. It's no secret that there were a lot of Jewish people during World War II who aided and abetted the Nazis. It's no secret.
Some of them they thought that's what they needed to do to stay alive.
Yes. You think that's what maybe she's doing here?
She doesn't need to do that, stay alive.
Well,
she knows where her next meal. She knows where she's sleeping tonight, and she knows where her next meals are coming from for the next few years. She's got it good.
Yeah, she doesn't want to bite the hand that feeds her. Right?
She does not worry where her next dose of hair gel for that hairdo she's wearing gonna come from. She should put a little less time in her hair, and a little more with looking in a mirror and realizing that she's actually publicly denying certain parts of her because she's a conservative first.
Not even Canadian first, conservative first. They seem to think that they stand apart from us as citizens. They always identify as conservatives, never Canadians.
Ooh, we have a very, very important Mateo update. Mateo has just had breakfast, his vitamins, and a popsicle. He would like you all to know how incredibly unfair it is that Miss Kit Sadeka, will not give him a freezie. She told him that she would tell everyone of this hardship.
I feel your pain, brother. I feel your
pain. You feel your pain. But you know,
Mom's got to make the rules, bro. You got to live by them. You got to live by the rules, man.
You had a popsicle,
right? Breakfast, vitamins, a popsicle,
which is kind of like a freezie.
Yeah,
in a way. I know it's not exactly the same thing. It's kind of. So maybe you want to just, make sure that your ice cold treats are spread out throughout the day. Maybe you can't have another freezie right now, but maybe you could have a freezie later. You never know. believe me, this situation is not forever. There will be a freezy that will come your way at some point. I promise you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Now, you have some very important stuff to do today. You got lots of playing to get to.
Get on it, brother.
Because we're counting on you. Because if you're not playing today, then there might not be enough playing going on in the world.
And you gotta get out there and have a good time. You gotta get out there and have a good time. You know.
So have a great day. Have some fun. Make your mom and your papa proud. Make your sisters proud. And then who knows? Maybe later on, a freezy will magically appear.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying it will, but you never know.
There's a possibility. And you got to keep hope alive. Keep hope alive.
Keep hope alive, my man.
Rage against the dying of the light.
Justice for Mateo.
Justice in Ontario.
Look at this kid playing power. Lovely to I know you join us usually later in the shows. Thank you. I think Douglas could be the new Ernie Combs, Mr. Dressup. Well, we sure know that I have a tickle trunk reel nearby. I keep all the outfits. Oh man, I love Mateo updates. That's fantastic. We love you, Mateo. We love you. What a good kid. And we love you too, Jazzy and Rain. We don't hear about them as often because, well, they're not keeping mom as busy, I would guess. Mateo seems to be a young man on a mission on a daily basis. Amen. Kids would love you. I really, really hope so because I want some one day. All right. Let's see. What else have we got for the kits this morning? Little tidbits here and there. Canadian singer Keisha Chante, who I like, will be hosting the Legacy Awards on September 24th. This will be the second edition of the awards that recompense Black excellence in Canada throughout various fields, sports, entertainment, activism.
I met her when she was like a child because I used to work with her stepdad.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if she's recorded a lot of music lately.
No, she hasn't. Not in a while.
But that first album of hers had a couple of pretty decent hits there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So, but it's nice. It's just nice to hear. I heard her name. I was like, wow, Keisha, there's a name I haven't heard in a long time. So I'm glad. Who knows? Maybe she stopped and went to university and focused on her education for a few years, and now she's back in. A lot of people do that when they became famous young. They kind of disappear for a few years, pursue their education, and like Mayim Bialik, for example. Right?
Yes.
Who's now hosting Jeopardy and was on Big Bang Theory and was on Blossom, disappeared for a while. She went and got a PhD in like nuclear physics or something. So she actually was a geek when she was on the Big Bang Theory, for real. Some people, like, sometimes you turn around and says, wow, that person, like, there's a name I haven't heard. Where did they go? Often they were just dealing with personal stuff. Even Serena and Venus at one point, right, stopped playing tennis as much while they went to fashion school in Paris.
That's right. Yeah.
Went to get to, so people, they'll surprise you.
Well, and sometimes, like you say, you just need to get away from the noise for a little bit. She hasn't totally disappeared, but she's not recorded music in a while. I remember when her first record came out. Actually, I remember when her first single came out, and a gentleman I used to work with at the time gave us a preview of it. And then I think if memory serves, and I could be wrong, but I think she played Super X. Remember they had the community stages in the back. I think she played there. That's where I first saw Fifi Dobson, who opened for the band that shall not be named because their lead singer's a bad person who did some bad things, and he's gone to jail. You know who I mean? Yeah.
I think so, yes.
Canadian band. He was on Canadian Idol. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yes. Okay. Sorry. No, I was thinking of someone else, but yes. Oh, yeah, that guy. Yeah.
Shame, because it was a good band. They put on a good show. But
oh my God, they had such good music.
I know.
Yeah, I agree. I've got an audio clip to play for you, kids.
Okay.
That will tie in to the discussions that we've been having recently about foreign election interference and leaking from our intelligence community. Now, it is a quote that is U.S. based and has everything to do with U.S., the whole context and everything. But if you apply it to Canada, what this person is saying, to how that was, how that everything unfolded here, it really does have resonance. And the person who I'm speaking of is Peter Paul Strzok. Now, if that name rings a bell,
doesn't ring a bell.
He's a former United States Federal Bureau investigator who was the Deputy Assistant Director of the FBI's Counterintelligence Division, and he led the investigation into the Russian interference in the 2016 United States election. He had previously been the chief of the division's counter-espionage section and led the investigation into Hillary Clinton's use of a personal email server. This is from Wikipedia. In June and July 2017, Strzok worked on Robert Mueller's special counsel investigation into any links of coordination between Donald Trump's presidential campaign and the Russian government. In July 2017, Mueller removed Strzok from the Russia investigation after the text message exchanges between Strzok and FBI lawyer Lisa Page contained criticisms of Trump and his supporters. Remember that one?
Mm-hmm.
Saying, they were saying, I hope they get him or something like that. And don't worry, we have the Constitution, blah, blah, blah. And they were having an affair, of course, and that got outed. And, well, not an affair. Well, I'm sorry, not an affair, because it's not like he was. Anyway, they were. Was there an affair, or they were just exchanging? I think people were trying to say that they had an affair. I guess we're trying to say, but it was just exchanges of emails. So this is the guy who had his reputation and his life completely upended by the Trump machine. A bit like Hang Don.
Mm-hmm.
Had his life upended and torn apart. This is what he has to say about these types of things. All right, kids, here we go.
That, coupled with the fake screenshots, I mean, it's just a complete takedown of every single IRS whistleblower claim.
And here's the deal. If you're an investigator, if you're a prosecutor, you make your case with a charging document, and then you take it to trial. If you don't have a case, you don't talk about it. Now, there are reasons and times there might be a legitimate problem that a whistleblower action might be appropriate where you go to Congress. The responsible way to do that is you go to the committee. In closed session, you talk about what your concerns are, the people who are impacted by that, from the Trump-appointed U.S. attorney on down, the career professionals at the IRS and DOJ come in and you gather the facts. What you don't fucking do is what's going on right now, where you spill the details of every last little thing that then get turned around and spilled, and now you've got Hunter Biden. Whatever you think about him, as a taxpayer, as a U.S. citizen, he's entitled to a presumption of innocence, and not having some garbage committee member tarring his image when he hasn't been charged yet. Mm-hmm. What you don't hear me or any number of the team that were on working with Mueller and the time before that are going through and spilling the details of all the crap that was either redacted or didn't make it in the special counsel's report, whatever we think or don't think about it, because that's not the appropriate way to do something. And if you're going to go out there and you're like, somehow I have a different set of standards because this is Biden and Crooked Joe and Evil Hunter and the laptop and the dick pics, shut up. There's one fucking standard. There's one fucking standard. And if you have a whistleblower problem, go to the committee, present your facts behind closed doors, let the committee, who has subpoena power and everything else, get all those Trump-appointed U.S. attorneys, get a former Attorney General Bill Barr in there to talk about it. Get statements from everybody about what happened, but don't sit there laundering this private information that you may or may not ever bring criminal charges. Because now what the hell is Hunter Biden supposed to do with this now? How does he get, you looked into it, you used the power of the investigative power of the United States government to get all this information. And maybe, you charge me and I pled out to these things, but all these other alleged activities, maybe you never charge them, but you've just thrown them out there to public consumption. That's not the way it fucking works. And these IRS agents should know better.
Boom. You can tell it's a man who experienced it, eh?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
That's why you can't trust the conservatives. That's why. Because there's a process for this. There are procedures for this. And what did they do? They laundered it all out in public, replaced Hunter Biden in that quote by Han Dong. Now, with Han Dong, we didn't find out any additional stuff about his personal life, like was the case for Hunter Biden. But seriously, right, as Evan Scrimshaw said in his interview with us, so let's see, he was going to run in one riding, and then he found out that Adam Vaughn was going to run there, and while Adam Vaughn could basically write his ticket forever, so he just went down the street and went into riding next door. Ooh, big conspiracy. Ooh, that's why he changed writing, so the communist government of the People's Republic of China could interfere and I'm just, but yeah, that quote, you just don't do that. And I was sitting there and just listening to podcasts, and it's like, whoa, that kind of applies. Because, and again, this is a guy who knows because it's been done to him. And again, may I remind, a former United States Federal Bureau of Investigation agent who was the Deputy Assistant Director of the FBI's Counterintelligence Division. They did that to him. Do you think Han Dong's gonna rate?
Nope.
He was a backbencher.
Yeah.
These people are out of order. These people are out of order. These people are taking liberties. These people are coming up with very creative interpretations of what the law allows or what's fair rules.
Rules for me, not for thee, or vice versa,
But as we showed at the beginning of the show, once you show up at their place with a pile of dirt and some red paint,
watch them run away. Run away, run away. Call the police, call the police, call security, call security.
Mm-hmm. Mr. Grizzly, do we have a show?
We do. I just have one final video clip for you. This is Montreal yesterday, along the worst road in the city, as I call it, the Décarie.
For people who are at home, it was basically the Décarie Causeway super flooded with cars, water way up to the height of the top of the passenger door with a couple of people sitting on the tops of the car.
Yeah. And for those of you who are unfamiliar with the Décarie, it is a north-south artery that is actually below grade. I always thought it was the stupidest design for a highway. Like, if you break down, where do you go? Like, where do you go? You're screwed. If you break down on the Décarie, you have to wait until a tow truck comes because you can't walk. You cannot get out of your vehicle. There's nowhere to go. What, are you going to scale up a 35-foot wall? No. Stupidest highway ever built. Well, apparently this was that was Victoria, not the Décarie. But it's irrelevant. The Décarie is still a stupid highway.
Before we do the outro, I'm going to leave you with a little bit of happy news.
Please.
Fucker Snarlson.
Oh, what did he do now?
You see, Well, he left. Well, he's left. He's pushed out of Fox, really. And then ran to Big Daddy Elon. Said, like, let me have a show on Twitter. So he's got a show on Twitter. Now, Tucker Snarlson was doing well at Fox Screws because, well, he was the most controversial thing on the network. Maybe even the most controversial thing on TV. But once you get to podcasting, or the cesspool that is Twitter, he's a rank amateur. He's far from the worst thing on Twitter. And Alex Jones certainly showed that you could do podcasting worse. Well, the announcement. Now, these are views, right?
Okay.
Views. So it doesn't mean you actually watched the show or watched the clip that was there. The announcement that he was going to have a new show had 137 million views. This is according to Beau of the Fifth Column. Mm-hmm. Episode 1 of his show had 120 million views. Episode 2, 60. Episode 3, when Trump got indicted, 104. Episode 4, 32. Episode 5, 17. Episode 6, 32. Episode 7, 15. Episode 8, 8 million. From 137 million views to the announcement to 8 million views by episode 8. Now, those are just views.
Mm-hmm.
View doesn't necessarily mean that someone watched the episode.
That's correct.
Now, the number of viewers who watched more than 2 seconds, or at least 2 seconds of the episode. So it doesn't even mean they sat, they just like clicked on it. Of the 137 million who viewed the announcement, only 29 million clicked.
Yes,
of the 120 million who viewed episode 1, 26 million clicked. Of the 60 million who viewed episode 2, 13 million clicked. When Trump got indicted, of the 104 million who viewed, 22 million clicked. Episode 4, 32 million viewed, 10 million clicked. Episode 5, 17 million viewed, but only 6 million clicked. Episode 6, 32 million viewed, but only 8 million clicked. Episode 7, 15 million viewed, but only 5 million clicked. Episode 8, 8 million viewed, but only 3 million clicked. He's not selling.
Go figure. And the interesting thing is, like, a view versus a watch is different.
Uh-huh. And to get those millions, that 3 million on that last one, all they had to do was watch 2 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
Wonder what the metric would be is like watched 15 minutes. Put them in a wind tunnel and let them scream until they're hoarse. Mr. Grizzly, on that wonderful, wonderful news, I think it's time to end the show. So, kids, I think that's the end of this edition of the Daily Beaver Morning Show here on the Crier Media Network. We hope that you love listening to us because we really loved making this for you. We really do. Hey, I don't get up this early for anyone. Just saying. Remember that sharing is caring and word of mouth is priceless, so let your peeps know about us because democracy is something that you do. Yes, totally self-serving. Write your MPs, your senators, your media people. Let them know that you are not really cool with Green Shirt Guy and you're really not cool with Danielle and Pierre taking pictures with them and you're really not cool when media has people to talk about it and then they just give them a free pass. Like Danielle Smith the other day when she's saying, oh, look, I talk about 1,000 people. And whenever you say, look, she's going to lie, right? What's going to come next?
Wow.
But here's the thing, right? I don't support the message. I didn't read the t-shirt. And of course I support the gay and lesbian community. That's not actually an apology.
No.
That's explaining it away. The words I'm sorry were not contained in there whatsoever. And when these situations come around, I would really like the journalist to turn around rather than saying, let her get the statement and skate by going. So What did the message on the shirt, now that you know what it is, what does it mean to you, and why is it something that you can't support? Because our friend Nate Pike says that Danielle Smith is always very good on script and on script. Well, I didn't see the t-shirt, and I meet with a lot of people, and you have to look and see. When people come to me all the time, you don't read all the t-shirts, but I've always supported the gay and lesbian community, and I don't agree with that. Yeah, that's the script. Why don't you support the message, and what does that message mean to you? Explain what the message of that shirt means, Premier. She doesn't have a script for that. I bet you if somebody asked her that, she'd swell up and fall apart.
Well,
you got to ask the right question.
I've got
to ask the right question.
I've got something here from our good buddy Nate Pike at the Breakdown. I'm going to put this on the screen. Just this is who Danielle Smith is. I'll blow this up so we can see it a little bit better. 2 months ago, Smith was calling out Notley for bringing in things the NDP didn't campaign on. Then said that the UCP weren't campaigning on removing Alberta from the CPP, the Canada Pension Plan. Today, she instructed her Minister of Finance to explore removing Alberta from the CPP.
I won't touch the Greenbelt. Watch me put my hands all over it. I won't touch the CPP. Watch me put my hands all over it. Watch me feel it right up.
Well, I think that people need to look at our record and judge us on the basis of what we've managed to do. We campaigned saying that we were going to reduce corporate income taxes, and we did, and it resulted in a massive boom in investment and a massive amount of new revenues. I would say on the other side, I don't think that Ms. Notley campaigned on a carbon tax and then she implemented it. She increased taxes on personal and corporate income, and she also brought in a devastating bill on farmers that she says she's going to bring back. So I think that she's got a lot to answer for too.
Okay, before I let you go, we haven't heard a lot about this so far. Some of the more bold issues you've talked about previously before this election campaign, including the Alberta Sovereignty Within United Canada Act, scrapping the RCMP, and perhaps what I'm most curious about, removing Alberta from the Canadian Pension Plan to set up an Alberta Revenue Agency. Do you still stand by these, and do they have a place on the campaign trail?
Well, they're not in our campaign, because I think we've got so many things that we have done that we're excited about.
What about the issue of trust?
They're not in our campaign, not in our policy book.
Well, we're going to do
not
it
in
anyway.
Our campaign. So they may have still been in our policy books. They just decided not to talk about it. Fun with words. Fun with words. You got to pay attention to all the words in the sentence. And you can't remove any or add any of your own. You got to. That phrasing was a choice in our campaign, not in our policy book. Eyes wide open, kids. Ears wide open too. Mm-hmm. If you really like this podcast, you can find us on the Crier Media Network, as well as all Beaver Grizzly friendly platforms. Stars and reviews are appreciated. Kit Toronto D, every time I hear her, I want to punch myself in the face. Kit Plain Power, Danielle is a skilled liar. And it's true, right? Nate Pike said, the first thing you got to understand about Danielle Smith is that she will lie. Once you understand that when Danielle Smith is in trouble, that the first thing she will do always, each and every time, is lie, then you can begin to understand how she operates. And then somebody else said, when you read a Danielle Smith tweet, do you hear her voice? It's like every damn time. Same thing with PPs. I cannot help but hear their voice in my head when I read their tweets. Every damn time.
Oh yeah.
We love to hear from you. We'd much rather hear from you than hear from them. Trust me. Reach us on our Facebook at True North Eager Beaver. Make us happy. Write to us on our Twitter feed at True Eager, or by email via truenortheagerbeaver@gmail.com. And Kits, you've been posting some lovely, lovely, lovely compliments about us on Twitter. And my friend Ray, who used to be with us on Crier, who's doing stuff with job skills. You posted really, really, really something nice about me the other day that you really did not have to do, because it was something that was between us, and it will remain between us. But that you told the world about it, that I was an A+++ quality human, whatever you think of my politics. when people give me a compliment, I consider the source. So, friend, that was completely unnecessary. It was completely unexpected, and I am deeply flattered and touched, and I love you. I love you. And anytime and every time. All right? Just so you know. Anytime and every time. So, again, Facebook, True North Eager Beaver, Twitter at True Eager, or by email via truenortheagerbeaver@gmail.com. We really appreciate all the compliments. Thank you, kids. And every time you retweet us and actually add something about how you like the show or what it is that you liked about the show, that really warms our hearts. So thank you. Thank you so much. Why not also subscribe to our True North Eager Beaver Media Incorporated YouTube channel? That helps us out big time. And while you're there, make like Kit Elaine and smash those buttons, the like and the subscribe one. Ooh, we have a Jazzy update. Jazzy was here watching with us. She's done school, no more theater gigs. She's not sure what direction to go into next. Ooh, is that no more theater gigs just for now, or is she moving on from theater? Inquiring minds want to know. You can subscribe to us via our pod page, podpage.com/the True North Eager Beaver, lowercase letters with a hyphen between each one of those words. And we will come straight to you when we have something fresh off the bandwidth. And talking about fresh off the bandwidth, Mr. Grizzly, again, I do not know at all, because they've not piped up at all, at who is listening to us in Italy. But once again, Mr. Grizzly, something is happening.
I don't know how this is possible.
We are once again among the top 100 political podcasts from anywhere around the world listened to in Italy. And I mean, and it's like, look at Farini, il podcast, il ricato di Putin, will intervista. Oh, there's a German one here, the Volkskrank Elke. There's one for French one at the bit. Like this, but there's like,
how?
Among all of that, the True North Eager Beaver. The Volkskrank Elke Dag, l'invité de 8h20, le grand entretien. You know, EU now. Oh, well, at least that was in English. But yeah.
I don't get it. Oops.
Okay.
Sorry, I clicked you off there for a sec. I hit the wrong button. My apologies. I don't know how this is happening, but hey, Italy, thanks. We appreciate it. Thanks for listening.
Molte grazie. It's just, yeah.
Mi scusi.
So yeah, we love you. Thank you so much. We can't do this without your kind and generous support, and you have been very kind and generous to us, kids. Oh my, have you ever? Thank you so much. So if you feel that we've done a particularly good show, that we had a particularly good week, if you're watching, please scan the QR code by Mr. Grizzly's head, which will appear right about now.
I'm going to find it.
Boom. You're ruining my magic tricks. We need to work on that bit. So you can scan that QR code by Mr. Grizzly's head, and that will bring you to the True North Eager Beaver Lodge Emergency Hydration Fund. And sometimes Farm Boy Chocolate Chip Ice Cream Cookie Gluten-Free Fund. Sometimes. So you can let your voice prompt or your fingers do the walking to our coffee page. That's coffee spelled ko-fi.com/eagerbeaver, all in one word, lowercase letters. And that's where you can make your donation. And today I'm going to say, Jen, to keep us moist. Because every time I try to find another word, Kit Jen posts in the chat, moist. I feel like everybody's at home going, say it. From the Beaver Lodge, this is your Eager Beaver saying, until next time, dear kids, it could be a tough world out there, so please be kind to and gentle with yourself, and given that it's hot, keep yourself moist. Mr. Grizzly, I love it when you get so discouraged with me that way. It makes my day. It makes me so happy.
Not discouraged. I'm just, I got nothing.
It's like, oh God. Mr. Grizzly, please elevate this podcast with your words of wisdom.
Well, friends, duct tape is your friend. That's all I got. Duct tape is your friend.
Interesting advice prior to the weekend. That's all I will say. Mr. Grizzly,
hold it together. Hold it together.
You are listening to a True North Eager Beaver media podcast. The True North Eager Beaver podcasts are proudly brought to you by our founding sponsors, the Miss V Mysteries from Corvid Moon Publishing, your source for science fiction, fantasy, and cozy mysteries featuring a broad diversity of characters. CanadianTarot.com, your uniquely Canadian online eclectic tarot community and forum, and the Peppermaster, hot pepper sauces made from fresh farm ingredients to thrill your taste buds and expand your mind.
We have Kid Jen suggesting the name of our new punk band, the Screaming Moists. The Screaming Moists. Kits, just as your Easter egg, whether you happen to be into tennis or not, I would highly recommend watching the upcoming Wimbledon women's final. There's a lady from Tunisia named Ons Jabeur, who last year, I believe we reported on the show, became the first African woman from Africa, and I believe the first Arab woman to win a WTA title. Last year, she played in the final of Wimbledon against Elena Rybakina and lost. This year, she has defeated Bianca Andreescu, winner of the US Open, Petra Kvitova, winner twice of Wimbledon, another person whose name escapes me off the top of my head, well, Elena Rybakina, who won Wimbledon last year, and then yesterday she beat Arina Sabalenka, who just won the French Open. So she's beaten 4 Grand Slam winners 4 matches in a row to make it to the final. She is number 6 in the world right now, and she is this time the favorite. And this woman has wheels, but she plays an all-court game with all the different strokes, drop shots, slices, which is really wicked on grass. She's amazing to watch, and she's on the verge of becoming the first woman from Africa and the first Arab woman to ever win a Grand Slam title. And the last 2 matches, she lost the first set in a tiebreak and came from behind to win, ending the last sets like with 6-1 or 6-2 or 6, like just blowing up. She gets stronger as she keeps on going. And it seems that yours truly, your Eager Beaver, has been taking inspiration from her, because the last 2 tennis matches I won, right? I was like three games down and came from behind and won. Guess who's on a 3-match winning streak and did it again yesterday, Mr. Grizzly?
Victorious once again, were you, sir?
I was down 3-5, 1-6-5. 3 in a row.
Well,
I've never won 3 in a row in my life.
Did you just jinx it?
Maybe. I'm playing against the same guy today, 2 o'clock. Let's see if we can make it 4.
Break a leg? No, you don't say that in sports. That's the theater.
Smash a racket.
Smash a racket.
Hey, kids, smash that button.
One final graphic for you, then I'm on my way out. When I hear the phrase, men don't start drama, world history will tell us otherwise.
That little filing cabinet.
Dana Scully.
I think we're going to need a bigger filing cabinet.
You think?
All right, kids. Have a wonderful weekend. Oh, Monday, we will have a pre-recorded show. It will be an interview with Scott McGregor, the host of the Crier Media show Hot Wallet. We'll be talking about finances, economy, and active investing. So there you go.
It's a good show. It's a good one. Check it out.
Yeah. All right.
See ya.
See ya.